I would like to wish Sarah Ballinger a happy birthday and ask her to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Counselor?
We're not going to sing.
No.
You know, the last board meeting was my birthday and I didn't get to come, so.
I know. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you so much. Oh,
You
my
want to do the
goodness.
pledge again?
Yeah, well,
I can do the pledge at the end.
the chief did it. All right, let's, okay, open podium. All right, we have a few speakers this evening, and I believe our town clerk is going to kick us off on behalf of Julie Klassen.
Yes.
Or if I'm pronouncing that right. So
Okay.
all yours.
I am representing Julie Klassen this evening. She has written a speech and asked if I could read it to everybody. And she is in the audience and she lives on Fremont Road. I would like to submit a petition from some of the residents of Fremont Road and some of the surrounding streets. It is regarding the fact that our neighborhood has become a shortcut highway for an excessive number of tractor trailers every day and every night. Tractor trailers, as you may know, are by the nature of the vehicle very noisy. We now have an overabundance of noise in our neighborhood, both day and night. When they use our road for a shortcut between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., they are disturbing our sleep. And this happens every day and every night. It is imperative to everyone's good health to have adequate uninterrupted sleep. Since the tractor trailers have come to our neighborhood this year, this has been impossible. Tractor trailers are also a very polluting vehicle. We now have to breathe all of their pollution. This is unsafe for us to do. We don't choose to breathe the polluted air, but we are now forced to. This is another health concern of ours. Also, our homes are being vibrated countless times each day and night as the tractor trailers barrel up and down our road. Among other things, we now have to worry about the damage this is causing to our homes. Some of us don't feel safe conducting the daily basic task of getting the mail, especially if this involves crossing the road to do so. Overall, the tractor trailers are having an immense effect on the health, safety, and welfare of the residents in our neighborhood. We are asking our board, where were the tractor trailers before and what route did they use before? Why has their route changed and their numbers so profoundly increased on Fremont Road? How can we limit their hours of operation on Fremont Road so they're not disturbing our sleep between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m.? Why aren't they using the CSX access road behind Aldi's on Route 290 as I've been told they should be? Where's the environmental impact statement, the feasibility statement, and who signed off on this without the input or consideration of the ones most affected by this, we the residents? In closing, it is the responsibility of our town board to ensure and enhance the residents' health, safety, and welfare and not degrade them. What are you going to do about this? We are asking for you to please take action as soon as possible to help us. Thank you. And then there is a petition that I will be sending to the board electronically.
Thank you. Thank you, Ellen.
I'm aware of the issues. It's actually not just at your end down by Route 290, but it's also up at the other end that goes all the way to Taft Road. I did reach out about 2 months ago to CSX to ask them, why the increased traffic. I haven't heard back from them, but I know that some of it was due to Kirkville Road and some of the changes they were doing down there with the new Amazon building. And so they were taking different routes to avoid Kirkville Road. Fremont Road is a county road, and they're the ones that would have to control traffic, I would think. Right? Tim, maybe you can help me with that part of it. I know that they don't all take that road to 690 because I've actually followed some that go down Butternut and they're all, so they're not always trying to get to 690. So it's an issue. 10 to 3 is probably when or 10 to 7 is probably the noisiest, but I know that they're out there after that as well, not just out there at that point in time. So I'm not sure what we can do about that, but maybe you can help us with our legal counsel here.
Well, I think the first point to make is that the town has done nothing to change the situation. So there wouldn't be an EAF, environmental assessment form, because there's been nothing that the town has done. There's been no.
Can you
change.
explain under what the circumstances under which we would have conducted this type of environmental study? Like just explain. So
Yeah, if there were a new development in that area, or if there were a site plan or a project that would have been done, we would have done a environmental impacts or environmental assessment form to determine whether or not traffic increases would affect the area. I don't know if traffic is there's an increase in traffic because of, for instance, the new Amazon facility that was just put in place. That could be the reason why there's more traffic. And when they that was in the town of DeWitt, that wasn't in the town of Manlius. So the town of DeWitt underwent its own environmental assessment and they went through the secret process for that, I'm sure. But that's the only thing I can think of in terms of generation of more traffic, why they're taking different roads than they have been taking before. We just don't know the answer to that. Yes.
I'm on fire tonight hearing this because this is exactly what we thought would happen. When the residents were not given an opportunity to ask for any extended period to ask questions about the traffic patterns related to Amazon when it was coming in. And just as Tim said, the building is not in the town of Manlius. But of course, the rail yard, which is the destination and the departure point for tractor trailers, is. So I think that this is an example of where we have to have these intermunicipal relationships and good relationships with the county and with CSX too. So do you remember when 3GI came to us with a proposal for a logistics hub for that area next to CSX? And right when we first started as town board members, this proposal was revived with Amazon coming in. Their thought was, and they had put into their traffic study in that proposal, the fact that because international cargo as of October 2019 was going to be coming to the CSX rail yard, and you had Amazon coming, there was going to be this increased tractor trailer traffic. So this is a reality that we must deal with. One way that we could, we resolved that the 3GI project at that point, especially because it didn't have CSX's cooperation, was not feasible. But we did work with the town of DeWitt to advocate for solutions. And we can tell you a little bit more about that. I don't know if anyone has any comments on that. John, do you have something?
I mean, yeah, this is what we are getting downstream effects. I mean, it's a lot
I don't
like,
know if everyone can hear though.
it's a lot like the drainage issues we've been having in town where there's downstream effects to everything. And with that new warehouse coming in and that rail yard being centered right here in Manlius, we were never consulted about the impacts it would have to our community. So at this point, what we've done is we've partnered with DeWitt to hopefully influence the DOT around the 41 expansion to have a service road that would come directly off of 690 and then connect to the rail yard to keep all those tractor trailers off of the local roads. And that's going to be a long process. It's going to take a little while and it's going to take a lot of advocacy. But in the short term, I think what we're probably going to need to do is reach out to the county around the, Amazon project and say, we are seeing negative environmental effects from this project that, we had no control over whatsoever. And, really hope that the county will, work with us to help us find some solution. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the county working to help us connect more with, the transport companies that are sending these trucks. Maybe we can come to an agreement about timing or something like that. But at this point, we're really just gonna have to reach out to the county and ask for some assistance on this.
Yeah, John, it's a combination of the county, CSX, as you know, and I could certainly reach out to them again. And we can, and the service road, I mean, we've been talking about this for the longest time, that would run parallel with Kirkville Road, coming out from 481 where the center is. of course, the thing that when we addressed it was more or less for the Route 81 project, which, they're just kicking that old can down the road, so, but we'll do what we can at our basis, at our level here, working with DeWitt and the county and CSX. I think that would be what I would do.
And I think this petition will provide an excuse for broaching that with the county.
Yeah.
And I think we're completely open to having more conversation with all of you. I can't imagine that we're not looking to say, thanks very much for the notice, and then we'll do something, but rather, we obviously need to hear more about your experiences and understand all that even better. So, I think we can follow up.
And I think one of the problems too with the noise of the tractor trailer is it's 35 miles an hour there, except in front of the
Cool.
the school's administration building, which is of course 25, that's as low as you can go, 10 miles lower than the existing speed limit. And I'm sure that you're hearing the brakes hitting the lights there at 290 is what a lot of that noise is too. And so again, there's not much we can do about that, except for the fact that it is 35 miles an hour. And that's probably helpful to the degree of safety. So, but we can certainly reach out and see what we can do with those three municipalities.
Well, I'm glad they have the signatures too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is very helpful.
Yeah, that's very
I'll
helpful.
distribute them to everyone.
We have some other speakers as well.
Thank you all so much for those who came on this issue, like the open podium. It really gives us the opportunity to hear directly from you, the things that you are concerned about. So thank you so much for taking advantage of that and for bringing this information to us. I had the opportunity this afternoon to talk to a couple residents right off of Fremont Road and how we could make that area more walkable with sidewalks and infrastructure. And we are addressing that in the comprehensive plan as well, how we might be able to fund that through different sources. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to make that area safer and more walkable for the residents and for the community. But thank you for the open podium, for taking advantage of that and for coming out tonight.
All right, thank you, board. I think we have the Mr. and Mrs. Valerio next, is that correct? And an issue that we're all been brought to our attention about a week ago, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Know if you all saw the stories on WSYR,
Yep.
your stories.
Yep.
About the speed limit on Route 298. We've had 11 accidents this year between Chet's Corners and Fremont Road because of speed. What we would like is the board to fill out a TE9 and send it to the state on our behalf, or on the town's behalf, to lower the speed limit to 45 and also have double line all the way up through. We've got a lot of homes on that road now. There's a lot of young children around and the speed is getting really bad. I'm surprised somebody hasn't been killed yet. We had 4 accidents within 2 weeks in front of our place. The 2 cars was turned over. Our neighbors up the street, they had one turned over in front of their yard. So what we're asking is just your help in sending the TE9 to the state, because you got more clout than I got. So,
Sorry, it'll take a year.
Well, and that's a good point because we've reached out, as you know, I've mentioned to the state, both the Channel 9 reporter Iris did, Marianne, I think it was pronounced, as well as Rob Cushing, our highway superintendent, reached out. And both did, as you know from the report, said that they did a study in September and that they're doing some sign change, which they didn't explain what that was, and probably some safety as far as the barriers and so on. So I spoke with both Rob and Iris tonight, and they said I should be receiving a letter shortly from the state regarding what their plans are. But I think we should also be proactive and at their request have a TE9. I don't know if we can request changing the double lines or anything like that. Tim, can we?
Well, we're just, the TN request is traffic study, so they would make the judgment of which. they
Right,
should
but we
do.
also want to ask for the reduction.
I mean, you can put it in there.
Put it in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Then we will do that.
see what happens.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to gamble with a double yellow line.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what, 40? It's 50
It's
or?
50 right
50,
now.
they're right.
Yeah, we'd like it down to 45 or even 40, but.
Yeah, if they can get it down 10, that would work.
Yeah.
Well, and what they've seen with traffic studies, I'm participating right now, with the village of Manlius on the liaison to the village, and there's a traffic study right now about Route 92 going through the village. And so there are questions about, adding stop signs, adding street lights, reducing the speed limit in certain areas. But what we've discovered is that traffic calming measures can be very helpful as well, if not more helpful. So like planting trees along the side of the road, on sidewalks on that road as well, because that, like you said, there's a lot of homes. That area should be more walkable than it is. Those are the types of things that would actually make people slow down, because right now it's like tunnel vision. You get on that road and you just want to go really, really fast. So and they take full advantage of that. So there are things that can be done alongside your request that we can mention that we want to see done in some type of study. And we'll certainly pursue taking those measures. If the state can be difficult to work with, the DOT is not always the most responsive of state agencies, but
It takes time. We
Yeah.
found that. You mentioned, Mr. Valerio, that they put a speed detector.
Today
Today.
they put a speed
Right.
detector out in front.
Yeah.
as a
But
result of
The
your
problem
media
is with
coverage.
that,
Probably.
they only put it down at this end closer to the red light. And it should have been at the other end.
They're always slowing down.
They get a while before they get to it, so.
Yeah.
it's,
Right, good point.
Yeah, right, okay.
So
But
can
Maybe
we
that's part of their study.
just
then.
ask the clerk to do a TE now?
Sure.
Somebody can make a motion.
Yeah, we can do that now. if you-
Okay, I make a motion to ask the clerk to submit a TE9 for 298.
I'd be happy to second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
sir.
good to go. All right. very
Another successful open podium.
We do have one more.
We have another one, yes.
So we call up Ms. Cottrell to speak about the CNY Land Trust and Three Falls area.
Yes. And I have some of my neighbors here who live directly next to it,
And did
right
you
next door
did
to
you give them
it.
an address and everything?
I did not
Oh.
hit Ms. Cottrell's address.
7308 New York State Route 173, Manlius, New York.
Another
My family's
story.
been there since 1947, just to let you know. Charles land surveyors and everything. We're very familiar with being in front of boards all the time. I have my neighbors here also. I have exactly 2 neighbors who live either side of the parking lot of Three Falls. I was never here for the public hearing or anything, so I never got to even voice my opinion. If my mother knew about it, she definitely would have been here to voice her opinion about the parking area. First of all, there's no signage there. They have a kiosk. I took some pictures. They're supposed to have 8 parking spaces plus a handicap. They have a handicap sign that's been pulled up. It just leans up against the kiosk. There's nothing there to say what time the hours are from dusk to dawn, where their website says dusk to dawn, what they're allowed. You have people who ride bikes, their website says no bikes, no strollers, no motor vehicles. People have their dogs, as soon as they get in there, they let the dogs out, let them run loose and everything. They're not on leashes, they don't pick up after them. But then we have the car situation. I know that I know that Sweet Road is a county road. It's 55 miles an hour.
Yep.
These people, because there's no signage saying if the lot's full, move on, they're parking on both sides. So when they pull out, when you try to pull out of that parking lot, your line of sight is completely. And I don't care what anybody says, when you come up, it's 55, you crest that hill
Mhm.
and you get a family in a minivan. And the first thing that happens is the doors open up. Mom and dad let the dog out with their lead. It's running across the road. The kids are running across, and what are the parents doing? They're doing this. They're not paying attention. We have talked to the land trust over and over and over again. They block our phone numbers. They don't want to hear from us. We've called the police. Police have done nothing. And we've been told that the only way that any tickets will be put up there if there is no parking sign. How do we do that? How do we get the no parking signs? Does it take somebody to die before I get the attention of everybody? I mean, I don't know what else, we
Yeah,
don't know
that's-
what else to do. We
Again,
are at our
it's reaching out to
wits'
the county and
end. We have,
I've talked, no, us reaching out to the
Yeah.
county. And I know that our highway superintendent has addressed this, and he talked about the no parking signs.
Yeah.
And again, as the chief knows, then it comes down to enforcing that, so you probably much more explain that better than I can, chief, but go ahead.
Can I share that, I spoke with a member of the board, at CNY Land Trust about this and asked what their plans were. And he said that they were discussing an additional parking lot, but
Okay.
needed,
You mean Mr. Albert?
forgive me, I'm not sure if that was the right.
Because
thing.
he's the executive director.
I'm not sure if it was him, it might have been somebody who was also on the board, who said that they're thinking about this other spot, but we said it's not, we know we're getting our police department, and our supervisor are getting tons of calls. So I said, would you be open to having a meeting? And they said, yes, so I was going to suggest that, so I'm sorry that I haven't done that, because that needs to happen.
It's becoming an issue and everything and
Yeah.
whatnot. Like I said, I live on the corner. We have the bus turnaround. People park in that. I've had to put a sign up and have Gary Hens actually do towing
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
out of my
Wow.
property across
Yeah.
the street with the
So
garage and
people are
everything.
parking there and they,
And I will not
yeah.
tell you the threats I've received because of it. So, but the point is that we're all tired of it, especially our neighbors next door. And our one neighbor has a special child, has special needs and everything. And this environment, these people are running through their homes, through the property, their own property, because they don't know how to get out because the trails are not marked properly or anything.
And you're on 172.
I'm on the
so
corner.
now you're on a state road there, so we got
Yeah, but
state
the
and
thing
county
is,
road.
New York State immediately put up no parking signs
Oh.
on 173 where the pull
Yeah,
off
I've
there
seen
is.
those signs.
Okay.
Those went up immediately.
So
good.
I'm sure we could be in touch with the county, and we know that we certainly have relationships and we could leverage and get.
Yeah,
I would
get that
love to
moving.
be a part of it.
Sure.
I really would love to be a part of it and show them exactly the.
Can you make sure that Allison has your email address
Yeah.
and phone number as well?
Yep,
And the
yep.
park is so beautiful inside, but I absolutely understand what you're saying about signage. And on top of it, I have seen dogs not on leashes there, and I have gotten lost in there. So I just want you to know that
I definitely got lost in
Yeah, but
there.
the other
definitely
thing
need
is
to
that
work
people are leaving, they're just leaving the dog poop there, like I
Oh,
said, they're
not
running one loose. But the thing is the Central New York Land Trust on their website doesn't say anything if dogs are allowed or not.
oh,
And then I have another one I look at, it's called All Trails, to say dogs are able to hike this. I have it here. I can give you that.
okay.
But the thing is
you're talking about the all trails listing. for it.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, I mean, they shouldn't be putting stuff there until they confirm it
Mhm.
with the Central New York Land Trust.
Yeah,
I mean, that's false advertising,
well, it's
communication, actually.
the Old Trails website, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
If we can get the land trust website updated and then reach out, because with the all trails, it's,
Yeah,
independently run. so
yeah,
we can
that's-
just tell them.
It's almost like a review. It's almost like I would
Like
be
Yelp or
surprised if
something.
user generated information
yeah,
there.
yeah,
too.
no, I understand that and everything, but the thing is that we really need something done there,
Yep.
and maybe even making the Central New York Land Trust put a light up in the parking lot. Because we have people over there late at night.
Oh,
they're-
okay.
Yeah, there's drinking, there's drugs going on
Oh, I see.
and everything. I mean, something's gotta be done.
You don't mean a traffic light, you mean a light.
Huh?
But they shouldn't,
like-
not a
but it should be
traffic light.
closed at night. I mean, it
So
shouldn't
you
be.
can see what's
Yeah.
going on, okay.
Yeah.
Well, and there are several of these land trust areas in all of Manlius and Pompey, and I would think they would want some uniformity for all of these locations.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
I
Yeah.
think to get them involved again.
Because there's one
is
on Woodchuck Hill Road too.
Correct,
Oh,
yeah,
right, right.
and there's someone, yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Well,
quite a few of them.
they're all
So I
in
think
like
one of
CNY
the-
land neighborhoods.
So I think we
My
should
sister,
make a
Nina.
meeting
Yes.
with.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
do that,
Mhm.
sure.
We've had the police up there many times.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So when we put the, what, Heather, you were more involved with this than I was, when we talked about this in the past, but that was that one of our roads? That was the town road?
The the other parking spot.
That was a
No.
town road, yeah.
No, was that what it was? No, it was Top of the World.
Oh, yeah, that was,
No,
that was
no.
town road.
Okay,
that was
Yeah,
town.
it's down low. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we
So
weren't,
so this would be a different process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, because this is
All
an
right.
actual park.
But this is the parking lot too, and
And
It's not
that's,
sufficient, though.
It's
Right.
not sufficient.
they double park, they park any way they
Mhm.
want, they
Yeah.
block the driveway, they park in between where you pull in. So you can't even get a car, you know.
Yeah,
out.
they certainly didn't prepare well for the infrastructure that would be required to allow
Yeah.
people to.
Well,
like,
COVID happened too, it
Yeah.
exploded the interest in it
Yeah.
too. It's a new park, so the novelty of a new place. I mean, I get the sense that they want to be good neighbors, but also that there's a problem now.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Do
it's
they,
become a
do they
good-
do this during the winter as well, or is it mostly
Oh, there's, well, if
it's all
nobody,
year round?
I'm seeing heads
it's all
nodding
year
in
round,
our-
but the thing is
with our
that they don't plow it, but people still,
See, that's gonna be even tougher. if
They
they
walk
pull it up,
in,
they pull off the side of the road, but if
Mm.
if the town can have them put a light in that
Mhm.
parking lot, to
Yep.
light it up,
Yeah.
they will really deter people.
Oh,
And I also know that Hanson's Quarry, people will park in that lot, go across, and they'll climb down into the quarry.
Oh.
So they practice their roping.
oh, really?
And a couple of times
That's
they are doing it
Oh, my God.
when they're blasting.
Whose
Oh my gosh.
liability is that?
Well, see, that's the thing.
Okay, we're gonna.
We have someone else too. I
Okay,
think,
all right,
so.
thank you so
Thank
No,
much.
you so
thank you very
much.
much. That's good information.
I'm not
Worse
sure
than I
because
thought.
we're supposed to enter.
I mean,
That's up to the supervisor. Did I say something?
Yeah, come on. Is it about the Three Falls? again?
Yes.
Sure, if you want to add
I'll keep it one.
on.
Yes, my name is Rosalind Georgia Coxon, and I live at 4606 Sweet Road. My neighbor here lives at 4618. This is the address that they have as the address of this
Oh,
pole.
that's how people get there.
This is
Wow.
Oh.
why they pull around in our driveways.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, and we've talked to them, oh, there's nothing we can do, we didn't, it's not our website. Well,
Where-
it's not mine.
Where is it that you're seeing, where is it that they're seeing the website? Is it like
Well-
just on Google?
It
No,
might,
I-
it's on the Central New York Land Trust website.
That's okay, no worries, no
But,
worries.
but that was, you were concerned about this from the very beginning.
Yes, I remember we
Yeah.
spoke. about it,
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's only gotten worse and worse and worse.
Because they use the coordinates, is that why? They use the coordinates or is this, I see,
course.
that's why.
And I told her, how dare you put our address?
Mhm.
Well, it's remained and now it's just there.
Unreal.
Okay.
All right, thank you for that. We can certainly
Yeah.
address
Yeah,
that.
That's
yeah,
totally wrong.
we'll get on that one.
From 8 parking spaces, you
Okay.
can go there any given time.
Mhm.
The thing, it's got 15 cars in the parking on the entrance way to the parking lot. They blocked my driveway. They blocked everybody.
Yeah.
And now we're getting school buses in there. Field trips.
Oh.
Oh my
No
goodness.
joke.
Let's find out which school.
Mayville to it.
Oh, it is, okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
I mean, you get young children in there.
and they have their own.
Adults.
land
JD,
trust.
huh?
A bunch of kids
They have their own
screaming and
land
hollering
trust.
in there early in the morning. It's just not right.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting to know.
Yeah, no, I think we should reach out to Three Falls Woods as a stakeholder in our community and start a discussion with them about how we can be good neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, I came here when they had the first meeting, and it just opened the whole can of worms. The falls are ruined. They used to be good, but they're not now.
Hmm.
No,
From people like climbing over it.
climbing,
Mhm.
the trails are not trails, it's like Walmart parking lot. No, it's opened up,
Yeah,
it
I
isn't
hear you.
saying,
Okay,
Oh, that's too bad.
I'm just very unsafe.
Mhm.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, when you have too many people hiking in
It
certain
actually
areas.
ruins
Yeah.
the environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we went over our 15 minutes, but it was worth it.
No, that
We've
was-
got a
that
lot
was
of
a good
information. We
discussion.
got.
Do we
Thank
have
you all
one
so
more?
much for coming.
And, oh, we have one more.
Yeah, just one quick.
You can
Sure,
come up
sure,
to,
come on
just so
up.
that everyone can hear you.
My family has the property on the other side of 4618. A lot of talk about the traffic and the parking and stuff, but the other part of that is the vandalism, the car problems, the police showing up. People picnicking on our property
Oh,
because there's no delineation between the parking lot and it's a nice mowed area. People coming through on their way out because they got lost, obviously. I stopped there a few weeks back. There was broken glass all through the parking lot. There was a car abandoned with the doors open in the parking lot. So this is the kind of stuff, my parents bought the property. The other family bought their property because it's a remote location.
Yeah,
You
it
want
is.
privacy and And all that, the value of that part of the property is lost at this point. So it's not just the parking, it's the other.
It's the other issues that you're having. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, well, thank you
Thank you.
very much. And you got his information. Okay. Good. Thank you, John. All right, so we got our work cut out for us tonight. We got one done, you know. and then
Yeah.
TE nine,
This
so
is
one out of three, I guess. So, all right.
This is a whole nother project.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
Right. All right, so we can move on now to the rest of the meeting here, which would be the approval of the minutes.
Mr.
for
Supervisor, I'll
October
make a
13th.
motion to approve the minutes from October 13th.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion on that? Any
Nope.
reached out? If there
Can
was any?
I wasn't in attendance, so I'll abstain.
Abstains.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I'll
Abstain. Carried. Okay, very good. All right, and number 5, abstract number 20.
Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion to approve abstract number 20 in the amount of $242,465.
Whoa.
$465.65.
Okay.
I'll second
All
that.
right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Excellent.
The transfer that's going to be requested by the highway.
I think we're gonna.
Later,
Yeah,
right?
that's gonna be down here. Yeah, a little further. I know it's very fine print. but-
Yeah, Is Rob dealing with flooding
Oh,
mitigation?
my
Yes,
goodness.
he is, all day.
All right, so we can, we'll move on to the, all right, get that out of here. The public hearing on the preliminary budget. Before we, of course, open up that public hearing, I believe Elaine and Sarah have the presentation to show us all ahead of time, and then if the board has any questions, we'll address those, and then we will open up the public hearing after that for
So,
any questions.
so the Finance Committee is composed of Supervisor Theobald, Counselor Kriesel, Town Manager Ute, and me, Counselor Ballinger. The preliminary budget includes some estimates and assumptions that will be confirmed or disconfirmed for the final budget. The goal of the town board is always to stay within the 2% tax cap. However, as you will see, 1/3 of the town budget is not in our control due to special districts. If special district expenses increase more than 2%, it may bring the whole town budget above the threshold. New York State government regulations require that the format of the budget, which is attached to your agenda, is difficult to understand. The preliminary budget is a public document. It's posted on the town website and is available for anyone who wants a copy. Our thanks are conveyed to Councilor Denton for making these slides, which convert the official budget into information people can more easily use. Next slide. So town budgets are divided into funds, many funds, actually. The A and the DA funds are the largest and include many things you may think of as town services.
If you gentlemen would like to move over there and you can see better. Okay, are you okay?
Is there a way to turn down the lights so it's easier to see the contrast on those? Like are one half of the lights there? Is that possible?
Is that better?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That worked.
Moonlight.
That was good.
Oh, that's better.
That's even better, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice job.
So town budgets are divided into funds. The A and DA are the largest and include many things that you may think of as town services, especially the Town of Manlius Police Department and the Highway Department, which does snow removal. The B and DB funds are smaller and provide only services for those people who do not live in a village. Many land parcels in the town are part of special districts. If you look closely at your tax bill, you may see that your property is part of a fire protection district, a trash district, a drainage district, and/or a water district. Each will levy a small tax to support their services. The town of Manlius provides several benefits to our employees. As many of you know from your own businesses, health insurance costs continue to rise. The town participates in a co-op self-insurance plan with OSEBA, which has rates lower than the open market, but costs still increase every year.
You want to say what OSEBA stands for?
And I don't know what's.
Town Economy Employee Benefit Association.
Okay, thank you. The same is true for New York State retirement and mandatory benefits, so they all keep going up. So slide 5. It's no surprise that property taxes are the town's main source of income. This is our revenue slide, but it's not the only source. You should know that FM and ESM school districts do pay for the school officers, so they contribute out of the school budget for that. Utility companies pay franchise fees. And that's for them to put their poles on our right of way. And appropriations, which is another bigger number in that chart, are monies that was accumulated from a prior year that is now going to be spent in the current year budget.
So that's, you're looking at the slide, Elaine? Could you tell us what each one of those colors represents? Because it's just kind of hard to read that.
Sure, so the blue is property taxes, the yellow is appropriations, the teal is the SRO and FTO program,
So that's officers at the school.
the red is is mortgage tax. The blue is, I'm trying to find it, fees. I
Like
believe,
marriage license, dog license.
Yeah.
Okay.
or maybe that's fees, and that's franchise fees, okay, so
Right.
that's franchise fees. and
Oh,
then
never
this
mind,
is the
utilities.
clerk, And the different fees like building permits that the town receives, state aid and grants. And I looked at these other ones and I can't.
I
remember.
think recreation, it's in this team.
Recreation is probably one, and
Tax help.
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah, it's like a sliver. So we're not getting a lot of money from the tax help. The take home message of this slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So slide 6, part-time, okay. So it's important for taxpayers to understand that the largest portion of their town taxes for the A fund is the town of Manlius Police Department. So you can see here, that's the sort of orangey color is the police department. And then the light orangey color is the highway department. And the yellow color is health insurance. So this is, the bigger expenses are those things. And then you see the blue, the tealy color is retirement, so that's also a benefit. If you move to the next slide, the largest expense in the part-time is part-town is the highway department. And then they have their health insurance and benefits and retirement. So planning and zoning, which is the dark green, is very small relative to the other areas.
We haven't opened up the public hearing yet. Okay. so
Yeah, if you want to just
You'll
earmark
get your
that,
chance.
we'll open the public hearing and then you'll
Yeah.
have a chance to ask your question.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Yep.
Thank you.
So this slide shows the preliminary town budget. So you can see, so let's read the colors again. Red is police, yellow is benefits, blue is green is highway, orange is fire protection. The light blue is
trash and brush.
trash and brush. Okay, so those are all your biggies there. So that's it. And then, so to kind of go over on the ADA, DB, ADA, BDB side, it is the police department, the highway department, and employee benefits that are the largest ones. On the next slide, we talk about on the special district side, those biggest ones are the trash and brush, the stormwater districts, and fire and EMS. And the special districts depend on where you live. You're not all in all of these districts. So that's really different. If you say, well, how come my taxes are different from my neighbor? Oftentimes this is why. You're not all in the same special districts.
And there are some residents who aren't in any special district.
Everybody's in some kind of fire protection,
Okay.
but, or Kirkville, but you don't have to be in a drainage district. You don't have to be in water. So all of those other ones could be different for everybody. And then we move to this one. The town of Manlius has remained relatively stable year over year. Total assessed value does not equate to anticipated revenue due to the several property tax exemptions that are possible. If you think you should be eligible for a property tax exemption due to being a senior, veteran, or other reason, please contact the assessment department before the end of February. And then you could see if you're eligible for an exemption. But you can see that the total taxable value is less than the total assessed value every year. So we really want to hear from constituents about what you like or do not like about the preliminary budget at this public hearing, Or you may also contact us by phone, email, or web form between now and next week, ideally, because we don't have much time to finish this. But we really do want to hear from you as far as what is working for you out of this proposed budget. So thank you very much for your attention.
Yep.
And go ahead and
Thanks.
waive the reading.
Well, hold on one second. I want to, before I do that, I want to explain what we're going to do. For the gentleman who had his hand up, if we need to, we'll refer back to those slides and, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, we
as a
can do that.
request, you know, so that I just want to let everyone know that it's not just trying to, your memory here, you know, so. But yes, now we can make a motion to waive the
So I'll
reading.
make a motion to waive the notice of the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And
Opposed?
could you do us a favor and turn the lights back on?
Yeah, that's Carrie.
We didn't realize you were gonna be our support IT person.
All right. Yeah, so now I need a
Sir?
motion. We haven't quite opened it
Just
yet.
one
We're almost
second.
there, almost.
One second, almost there.
We have to make a
Almost there.
motion to open up the public hearing.
Supervisor, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Okay.
Supervisor, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I think we have
All right.
somebody who'd like to speak.
You're right. Yeah.
Would
This
you
is,
like
this
to
is how we
come?
do it. If this is the first time you've been here for the public hearing, is we ask you to come up here actually, or we need you to introduce yourself. You need
sir.
to introduce yourself and your address, and then we give you, 3 to 5 minutes to for a question the board. You direct the board.
Yeah, so if you'd like to come up to the
So if you wanna
podium,
come
the
up
reason
here-
we ask is because, oh, no, but sir, it's for the,
Well, no, we need,
yeah, we'll
we
back it
need,
up.
in order-
We'll rewind the slide.
in order for us to,
It's nice, big ones so you can see, but the ones you don't want to see, you put a small letter,
So make the font bigger.
all right?
we'll work on, is that your point then? That you want to, all right, okay.
The budget,
Okay, so the handouts will be available.
Yeah,
big letters, but the other ones so small you cannot see.
we will have handouts with these slides so you can,
This is our backup.
So everybody say yes, yes, because, but you don't see what you mean.
Okay, yeah.
No,
I agree with him.
it's so small, and the numbers, no one see.
I will make sure it's bigger, sorry.
yeah.
No, but I think our town clerk was gonna share something.
All right, if I could just, go ahead.
This is our backup projector. This is our second string projector, if you will. It's obviously very old. We have it propped up with a CPR book. We are trying to get it repaired, and
Out of the budget?
it's under warranty. It's under warranty. So I will say this, I passed out my business card. You can email me. I'll email you the slide presentation. We have it available online in the agenda. And I can be helpful getting that to you. You normally can see this, but as the universe would have it, not tonight. So we apologize.
So if anyone has a question about the budget, and whether you can see it or not, again, we will have that available to you going forward, because this, we have a week to change this and into a final budget, so. With that being said, again, if anyone has anything they'd like to ask the board, if you do come up here to the podium, just like the open podium, introduce yourself, and you'd have, 3 to 5 minutes to address us, and we'll answer the questions to the best of our ability. So if anyone has anything.
And online, they use the question and.
Oh,
answer
yes, I
function.
forgot. Thank you, Allison. Yeah, we have online, which you are connected to to Facebook and so on for all of that.
I see no questions.
No
online.
questions there.
Nothing
Do
on
we have-
Facebook either.
Do we have attendees?
We do have attendees. I know most of them, but we do.
Okay. The usual suspects, right? All right, very good.
So a motion to close?
Sure.
We don't
Well,
have-
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know, is there any discussion we want to have? We can just see if anyone pops up with a question, or do we want to
We
close
don't
it that
we don't have
quickly?
anybody.
No,
No,
okay.
and we'll leave it, the
It's gonna be-
questionnaire open.
So we actually could keep the public hearing open till next week?
I think we
Yeah.
should.
I think we should give people a chance to
Mhm.
perhaps review the
Yeah.
slides.
Keep it open for how long? Up until the 12th, I think.
Well,
The next
we meet again next week.
It's just the
Yeah.
third.
Yeah.
I think you can.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion
November
to leave
3rd.
the hearing open until the
All right.
third.
Well, do we need a motion or we just leave it open?
Well, can I suggest,
To extend, I think we have to make. a motion.
before you make that motion, can we just remind everybody where the documents are if you're intrigued now and you feel like you want to go through the budget and prepare questions?
We have, so first of all, you can always call me, and we'll walk you through in our office where they are on the website. But they are also in our agenda center, so, if you go on our website and you get to where all of our agendas are, I highly recommend everyone signs up to receive them, and that way you can just always kind of check in on us. But in the agenda itself, we put the slides, so they're clickable links, you'll see preliminary budget, you'll be able to click on them.
And as Sarah mentioned, we are, the finance committee of her and Caitlin, myself and Anu, we're not done with this preliminary budget to make it the final budget yet. There are still a few items that we plan on adjusting, to make the budget even better, So that's the whole idea. As Sarah mentioned, try to keep that tax cap below the 2%. Even though districts, it's very difficult because we have no control over the special districts, If we could carve them out, then it would be different, but we can't do that. So
Not this year.
Not this year.
not this year, yeah, which we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So you made a motion to extend the
To extend to next week.
next week?
And I'll second that.
Second that? Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Carried. Very good. Excellent. All right, thank you, Sarah and Elaine, for that.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you guys so
Yeah,
much.
excellent.
Very helpful.
All right, now we move on to the public hearing on the property tax cap. And again, I always like to reach out to legal counsel for a description and explanation of how this works and why we do this each year. We look at overriding the tax cap. So, Attorney Protesky.
So the state requires your budget to be less than the property tax cap, which is a formula that's figured out every, I think this year it's 2%,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So if you were going to go over the budget or over the 2% cap for this year, you would have to pass a local law, which we traditionally do every year, just because some of the numbers aren't available to us right now when it comes to special districts, which are included in the property tax cap. So I think right now as the budget sits, it's more than 2%. And as a result, I would recommend that we do override the property tax cap, because if you don't, then in the future, the controller's office can come back and require you to segregate money and penalize you for going over the property tax cap without voting to go over property tax.
Right.
May I see if I can break this down? So is this, and I'm just doing this because I think I understand and I think it's an easy explanation, I hope. We make our budget, we are intending to be below the 2% tax cap, and we do that. The special districts that we have different fiscal years. Some do. And so if for some reason their expenses,
I'm not sure which ones have different.
But they're still in our-
no, there's still
The contract is,
so what would?
they have a different year
So this
than
is
we
things that
do.
we don't know what the cost of.
Right.
Exactly. So I'm saying this is our budget. So if something comes in and it's especially expensive, or if there's a huge crazy difference, this protects us from, it's like insurance.
Well, yes, because we don't know what all the costs are today in some of the special districts. We will hopefully by the end of the budget process,
Mhm.
but as of today, we don't. And you're safer to do the override, so that in the event someday a calculation comes in that we were wrong on or we didn't know anything about, we don't want to take that penalty on from the state controller's office. So.
Is there one expense though that would be so affecting, for example, if we had a huge cyber attack and we had to spend tons of money or something?
No,
we have insurance for
I
that.
think it's more because it's 2%. I mean, if we're at 1.9% or at 2.1%, those numbers. In the end, we don't really know. We think we know what those numbers are gonna be in terms of revenue, but we're not quite sure. So it's really just it is and you use the term insurance policy, but it really protects the town from, if there was a mistake made in the budget numbers, then we wouldn't be penalized for it.
Okay,
So it's a vote, and it needs to be a 60% vote on the property tax cap override.
every
Many
time we vote.
municipalities use this. I mean, we
Yeah,
have
most
been doing
municipalities,
it
most,
for-
this town has done it traditionally every
Right.
year,
Yep.
even though you're under the property tax cap most of the time.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
So that's what I want to make sure we're clear on. I don't want the news to be, hey, they want to make sure they can go over 2%.
With this came up
No.
last year, and I remember we were in the Zoom meeting, because it was, well, not that different than today, but at least we were in person. But it was this question of, I remember as a new town councilors who were like, well, why are we going above the tax cap if we don't need to? And I
Yeah.
remember we met and I came back and I was like, no, it just, if we need to, we can.
Right.
But if we don't, then we will pass a law, right? Didn't we do that?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
pass a lot.
We passed a law to
To
reverse it,
to
basically.
ungo
Yeah.
above the tax cap. So this does not mean we're going above the tax cap. So we'll have to see how the numbers shake out.
Yeah, it's a safety
Finally.
precautionary
Yeah.
measure that
So
we're
we
taking.
get the public hearing.
Well, I would need a motion to waive the reading.
I'll make
I'll
a
make
motion
that
to
motion.
waive.
Never mind, you make it, I'll second.
Second it?
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Hearing.
Opposed? Carried? Okay, public. Motion to open the public hearing. Gee, I jumped ahead
I'll
that
make a motion to
time.
open the public hearing.
Jen did.
John did?
Jen will
Okay.
second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, now we're ready. So if any public or anyone who's Facebook or otherwise has any questions for us, then come on right up here and introduce yourselves and.
This is the riveting part of your local town government, so.
And the reason we asked you to come up here is because we have it all, recorded and everything, so we can hear you and.
The people online could hear
And
this.
everyone online can hear you as well.
No comments
Yeah.
No
online.
comments. All right, no one else? Okay, I thought I saw a hand go up. Okay.
Shall
All
we
right.
make a motion to close the public hearing?
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried? All right, and now.
So I prepared a resolution.
Yes.
That includes the local law for the override. Numbers and also.
6.
So it's local law 2021-6.
Six.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if anybody wanted to make a motion to approve that local law.
I'll make a motion to pass local law 2, what is it, 2020?
2021-6.
Overriding the tax cap for the fiscal year 2023.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Very good. All right, everyone, good job there. That's -6 that we're on. All right, next, on the agenda, we have item 8, which is Syracuse Haulers trash and brush contract. There's the team back there. I thought you guys looked familiar. So, Rocco and Steve, if you want to give us your.
So you want us to stand over here?
Yeah, come on
Yeah.
up here. It's easier.
We've
that way.
got people watching from the owl and they
Yeah.
can see and hear you better if you
Yeah.
are up at the podium.
So if we could just give, if you want to just give an overview of the process we went through, Tim, and why you're here to just answer some questions for us.
Yeah, so the town put out for bid, the trash contract, which it does every 3, I think this was 5 years.
Excuse me.
So we, so the bid went out late August, came back in early October. And we had one bid from Syracuse Haulers, who has submitted a bid to provide the service that they have been providing for at least 15 years, as long as I've been here, probably much more.
17 years.
17 years. So the bid came back, they were the only bidder on this contract. And I think they're here tonight to answer some questions that the town board might have about potential pricing and potential variations of services.
Yeah, and we sent a questionnaire out, I know, and we got many of the answers back. And I think I'll just open it up to the board members.
Could you
unless
guys
wanted
introduce
to-
yourselves?
Yeah.
Unless you want to give a head presentation first, Rocco.
My name is Rocky Grosso. I own and operate Syracuse Haulers. Been in business for 30 years. Service your township for 17. We are in the residential service, we're in the commercial service, we're in the industrial service. We service 5 different counties, probably in Onondaga County. I've never really researched it, but we're probably one of the biggest haulers in Onondaga County. We've serviced, we have multiple contracts now with municipalities. We pretty much service pretty much all the counties or all the township contracts, excluding Thomas Line at one point. Okay. This is Steve Ruge.
Stephen Ruge, the operations manager in charge of making sure everything gets done.
Thank you both for coming.
We got about 100 people, employees working for us. We run about 45 trucks. As I said, we run 5 different counties. We're pretty busy every day. I do live in the town of Manlius. I didn't grow up in the town of Manlius, but I live in the town of Manlius, which I enjoy living. And that's what we're all about.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you. So we did send some questions ahead and your email said that you would respond to some of them. So I don't know if you just want to dive into a few and then we could continue from there. Or...
Well, we'll start with the okra increase. So okra, you know, they set this, the pricing, obviously. They're usually, so if I have to forecast the next 5 years, you're probably going to have throughout the 5 years about a 15% increase. Okay, it all depends on, like this next year coming up, there's not going to be an increase. I don't know if you were notified yet or not. But probably within the 4 years, you'll probably be about 15% increase. So we're around $100 a ton right now. So you're going to be about $115 a ton. Probably back 10, 12 years, 15 years ago, we were at $100 a ton. 20 years ago, we were at $100 a ton. It went back down to 50, and then it's creeped up over the years. Okay, and it'll continue creeping. New York City DEC, you know, all the mandates that are being put on, the cost of operations, as far as disposing, the prices are going to keep going up. Okay.
And
which is a significant amount of money in our services. Okay, which we collect the money and we pass it right over to the okra. Okay,
so with the state putting additional requirements on that's making okra raise their prices, which has been passed on to you as the hauler.
right. Cost of operations.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Which one of the biggest problems right now is personnel.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody has, including okra. They don't have help either. So, what's that?
They're stealing ours.
Right. Yeah, we have 3 or 4 drivers.
Wow.
Okay. So the labor is a huge problem, which we all know.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think most people, that if you're not involved with it in business, you don't realize how bad it really is. No matter where you, I was in 3 different counties today. Okay, I had 3 different landfills on my boots.
You personally were in 3 counties today? Due to
I
your employment?
started my day at 2:30 this morning. And we had a safety meeting at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30. And then I was back on a truck. So he's gonna be on a truck tomorrow, training people. That's how bad the help is. There is no help.
And is that further motivating you to move towards the automated trucks?
We've been moving towards automation for years. We pretty much, I think we started by 6-7 years ago.
Yep, started in Homer, the Village of Homer contract. We started automating down there. We have automated all of our current subscription residential routes are pretty much all automation. We had, the village of North Syracuse has been automated. So, you know, automated is basically the wave of the future. I mean, it takes out that labor part where a lot of our problems come from.
Yeah.
You know, you get guys on the trucks that just don't care. You know, even though we try to get them to care, a lot of them, they're here a day, they're gone a day. It's tough.
There's, the workforce for labor is not there anymore. Nobody wants to do that kind of labor. Farmers are having the same problems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's hard work. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I
you're in
mean,
the
this is what we're asking them to do. We're asking them to throw 1,000 homes on a day.
Mhm.
A labor,
right.
okay, throw 1,000 homes plus a day. That's a lot.
Mhm.
We used to years ago have, because things have changed within the industry, we had driver that would drive the truck and throw the trash
Wow.
and get all that work done.
Mhm.
So you're talking, you know, back in the 2000, that was happening. Okay, because the trucks changed and you were, you're driving on the passenger side, getting right out right here, throwing it in and going. They could do it. Nobody wants to do that work anymore.
Right.
So we will not be bidding any contracts with not having automation.
Okay.
Like we just got an email from the city of Utica, and I've been in the city of Utica I've been in business for 30 years, probably 25 years. Okay, and they're not automated. We won't be submitting a bid with them. Okay, same thing with the city of Rome. Same thing with the city of Portland. Okay, we will not be submitting a bid. It's just the labor force is not there. So to give you an example, okay, and I'm not proud of this, I'm kind of ashamed of this, okay? In 2020 is gonna be just as bad. I got over 100 people working for me. I had 242 people come through my place.
The turnover
Okay?
was that high.
And turnover was that bad, and probably about 160 were laborers that went through. Okay, and I do have a lot of people that are long-term with me, and I have people that are retiring. Okay, I'm not retiring, I'm 60 years old. Okay, but I have people that are retiring.
Oh, that takes so much time and effort and money too, to train all those people, Rocco, but I must say this, I've been on the board 12 years, lived in the town of Manlius 40. You do a tremendous job. I don't know how you do it, but your staff, your drivers, your trucks are impeccable, they're respectful. I can't say enough about your
I
company.
appreciate that. We have struggled.
You don't get the recognition, I think, that
You
you
know, we
deserve.
And I really appreciate that. But we have struggled in the last year and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
We were fighting this. I mean, people were home and our people were still working, coming in and, and it's been a real challenge, but that's not really what we're here to talk about. Okay, we're talking, you guys wondering, what's happening with this bid and obviously, why the prices went up and so on and so forth. And I can go on and on and on.
We're curious. We're not skeptical or critical, though. I think we just want to understand.
Right, and I tell you, I can tell you everything about this industry. I've been doing this business I've been in business for 30 years. I've been doing this over 40 years. Okay, so I remember when it was town landfills and we threw everything in the landfill. Okay, motor oil, everything, paint, everything went in there. So I've been doing this since I was a kid. Okay, so going back to Okra, there's probably going to be about a 15% increase. Okay.
That's Okra, 16%?
It's probably,
It's an estimate.
it's an
Yeah,
estimate,
yeah, that's okay.
And that's
Rough numbers
about
are
right,
fine.
because when we've met with Okra, as the Supervisor Association, we have these meetings and they prepared us for these increases. That these will be coming down the road, so I'm not surprised at this increase.
It's so ironic. Isn't the food compost, the potential, the waste that's usually in there about 15%? That's an interesting comparison.
So one of the things that I always said, and I remember the first days we started recycling, and that was right around 1988. okay? But if you want to be green, okay, it takes green. Okay, so everybody gets fooled with, oh, you're recycling,
No,
okay,
this
so
is
it
true.
should be free.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is nothing's for free.
Well, and
Okay,
recycling is.
So they add this, just so you all know, they add this, we're over on Thompson Road in the town of DeWitt. I have a DEC permitted transfer station, that I bring a lot of recycled material into my place and I recycle. But
Where
it
does it
costs.
go after? Where does the recycling go? Like, what are we doing with it?
It could go, depends on what it is, it could go all over the country. Okay, it could go to China. Okay, it all depends on what it is. Okay.
So I've heard that China's not buying our recycling anymore, and that's part of why their costs have gone up quite a bit.
China stopped taking our garbage.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's what they started taking, and I'm talking about the
Recycling
recyclable
still
material was garbage.
Yeah, they throw it away.
Okay.
They were getting paid to just landfill it. Recycling is a complex issue that's not necessarily as sustainable as people think it is.
Right.
So,
No, and recycling is very, very dirty, and that's because we mixed it all together and we're
Yeah.
trying to recycle too much.
Single source recycling.
so when it comes to the contract that we were looking at, I know one of the issues that we were seeing was the fact that if we went with the automated service for, the contract right off the bat, anybody in town would be outside of the opt-out timeframe. So we would essentially, everybody would be opted in until the next opt-out period.
Right. That's right.
Now, would it be?
So one of the reasons for that opt-out, I was all part of this when this thing went from subscription service to contract. It was all about appeasing everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, to be able to get the contract to go through. So your opting out thing, okay, is because you're gonna get, including me, because I'm town Manlius resident, you're gonna go, why would I want to be part of your contract? Because I can take it to my place. You understand? But so the opting out thing is probably not a great thing for any municipality. Okay, it's everybody's in. Okay, that's the way it should be. Okay, and then we had to accommodate garage service because under private service, you're getting garage service. So we did accommodate that in the town of Manlius. Okay, and they still have it.
What is that
Okay.
now?
What is garage?
Garage service.
Yeah,
Right,
but
some
that's-
people have really, really long driveways
Yeah.
and they don't want to take it to the curb. So we have a special truck that goes up however long the driveway is and gets their trash right there and right in front of the garage. And we empty it and leave their cans there.
Oh,
So that's a premium
Actually,
for.
they
It's an
pay
extra-
they pay extra to have that. Okay,
Garage service.
so, and then there's really no other service than that. There's no tiers.
No.
So we did the town of DeWitt years ago, and that was even more of a mess because that was a tier system.
Yeah.
Okay, so, right.
Yeah,
So
Village of
anyways.
Manlius just did that.
All right. So let's get back to some of these questions. there.
John?
Okay, so it says on the brush one, the next one here, it says residents would prefer not to have such strict rules about bagging and bumming their yard waste. Is there some flexibility with this? Okay. I responded, the town drafted the specs, the bid pricing is calculated off the way the town chose to the district to the residents. And I'm gonna elaborate. So the brush service, as far as I'm concerned, okay, is, because I was involved with, I mean, I didn't write the specs. I was part of going to the committee meetings to get this contract through. The brush should be simply for the residents, taxpayers, to be able to maintain their, whatever they have on a weekly basis. Not to, I'm going to completely clean my whole yard like I do.
The
Okay.
cleanups, yeah.
Clean my whole yard and then put it out to the curb. Okay, it's a service. So if somebody has a few clippings or bags and stuff like that, you put it out to the curb and you take care of it. You would hire somebody to come in and take all that bulk stuff, because it's not fair for one customer that has very little to pay for everybody else is putting a whole bunch of stuff out. Okay, and that's some of the people put out a lot of stuff every single week.
And you won't pick that up.
No, we do pick it up.
Okay.
I mean, there could be one curb that has 50 to 100 bags out there. We have to pick it up under the contract.
Okay.
Okay, so
But again,
And-
maybe it could be like garage service almost, like clean,
no,
In a
what
perfect
should end up
world.
happening is when they have that much of abundance of material, they should call for special services. And not just me or somebody else,
It's a
landscaper
convenience.
or whatever, or call us to charge them, a fee to take that much out of it.
Our recommendations.
So
So,
you're
so
right.
the point, but the point is that, the point is that they're picking up a lot under the
Yeah.
contract that most haulers wouldn't.
Yep.
And to loosen the restrictions even more would be more onerous on the hauler.
Well, I think the main complaint I hear is just that people don't want to have to tie branches together, right?
But the issue is that we're comparing the village resident who has one level of service
Exactly.
and town members who are, so we're taking a giant program and trying to ask you to be as personalized almost as the village is, and that's the gap.
It's a
for,
big cost if we were.
It-
So what you'd have to do is put a contract out for bulk pickup.
Mhm.
This is not bulk pickup. This is, a service
Weekly,
that you put out a minimal amount of stuff. You understand? So, which if you allowed that, you'd have everybody would be throwing everything out.
Yeah.
If they don't have to tie it or cut it down, you're gonna be. huge
Except
piles.
trees.
Okay.
Well, there's
So
the
I
one house
remember
on
years
East
ago,
Tennessee.
years ago, the villages of Solid used to have a service where you went up into the homeowners, their yard,
Mhm.
to their back door, and got their garbage cans, brought them to the curb and dumped them and put them back. Okay? That's the kind of service that they ended up having back then. And then they got rid of it over the years. It used to be that, all the towns used to go do, why did you guys quit doing your bulk pickup?
Mhm.
Too expensive.
Yeah.
You understand? So you're giving them a service. Okay, so they have something. But people want more and more and more and more. You gotta pay more to have that.
Yeah, but you see our
Yes.
conundrum.
I think you're giving them a service so they have something. And I think a lot of people appreciate it.
I
Okay,
agree.
it's just the ones that has so much that they still want to use that service. They don't realize, we were getting, I think the contracts before, we were getting I think it was like $40 a year. Well, I don't even think it was that. It was like $28 a year. The services, it was like $1 a pickup.
That's
They're losing money on that.
They're losing money
Too
on
much
that.
time to do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
plus we have to pay the disposal for it too. And there's not. So I think it works really, really well for the people who just want to put a little bit out every single week to have that little service. It's not working very, very well for people that have a lot of stuff
Right.
every single week.
And they could
They can opt out.
work with a private
They can
company.
work with. a
Yeah, they
private
could.
company.
And
Yeah,
you're
we
saying they
have
could opt out,
schools.
Elaine?
Yeah.
So then if I could just come back to the contract, so like I was saying about the opt-out, would it be possible, if we were willing to commit to like a 5-year contract with the automation, could we do 1 year before?
No, we bid this per the specs. And when you look at specs, okay, you bid it or you don't bid it. You understand? So it's,
So
that's
the
what it is.
current thing, the current one would be 3 years, but then option to extend for 2 years. That's what we.
So you'd
that's what
prefer
that's-
us to commit to 5. So isn't it,
If-
Without a-
isn't that
With the
negotiable?
If we talk about the
Yeah.
automation,
Yeah.
okay, we want a 5-year agreement. Okay, I have huge capital investments, okay? So to do the automation, but even I still have huge capital investments with doing it the conventional way. I mean, you talk, these trucks are $400,000 if you can even get them. So I have 8 trucks on order for 2022, and I don't even know if I even need them all.
Yeah.
Okay, I just order them because I don't know if I can get them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it takes a year and a half or better,
Mhm.
even if you can get them now.
Right.
And
Okay,
is that
now I can
now
buy,
or
I can buy
always?
trucks all over the country, okay, but I don't wanna buy trucks all over the country, I want my specs, okay? So,
Is that
and I can
because
buy
of the
used trucks, so the company that just took the town of Cicero over, that I had, okay, he went out and bought all used trucks. Okay, so he's got 5 years if he makes it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I had the town of Cicero prior to me just having it now. On a competitive bid, I lost it to the company that went out of business. And 5 months later, They called me on a Thursday, and I started on a Monday, 10,000 houses. Okay? That's really pretty tough to do.
But if we were willing to commit,
He didn't have any gray hair when we did that.
Yeah, that's a tough time.
if we were willing to commit to a 5-year contract, would it be possible to have the first year not automated to give folks an opportunity to opt out and then have 4 further years with?
Well, if we move forward, we're not gonna be able to automate right away anyways.
Yeah, they don't have the
Okay.
trucks yet.
So
Okay.
we're gonna have, like, I have 3 automated trucks ordered. Okay, not even counting for this. I just already ordered 3 automated for next year. Okay, I'm not sure when I'm gonna be getting them. I have another automated truck will be showing up here November, December. I have 2 other trucks showing up this year. Okay, one's automated and another's a front load truck. So, it's gonna take us time to ramp up anyway. So to answer your question, you know, why did we bid this like this? If you would have put this bid out and not allowed us to do automation, you wouldn't have received a bid from us.
Yeah, gotcha.
We only received one bid. Who would we have gotten a bid
You
from?
would have probably gotten a bid for
So
anybody.
what's
And
the
the reason for that is nobody can handle anything.
Yeah.
Nobody has any help. So a public company that doesn't work in our area right now, okay, works out in the Geneva area, okay. I just got word that they had 4 of their operations people out driving trucks today, just like we are, okay, because they have no help. Okay, it's that bad.
What would the time frame be to move to automation for?
You know, I would say 6 to 8 months. I mean, right now.
Could it be at the end of the next opt-out period and that's when
No,
we
it
would
would be,
switch?
it would probably be June, June, maybe July or August, based on, as far as the carts, how it works with the carts, okay, is we would have a company that we purchase the carts from, they do all the delivery. Okay, and it's pretty successful. I mean, we've done multiple municipalities and we've really had no glitches. And by the way, okay, the ones that we have automated, okay, we had, you always get some people that are, don't like change. None of us here like change. I don't like change, okay? But you got a little slack from some people, I don't like the car, I don't have room, I don't, and so on and so forth. But after it's received and it's done, you hear no complaints.
Yeah, right.
Because what ends up happening, like I was in the village of North Syracuse the other day, and I looked down the street, and so all you see is these carts out. Okay, everybody's stuff's out, nothing's blowing on the ground, okay? It's a really, really nice.
Yeah.
We should have been automated 10 years ago. I mean, I'm talking all the towns here. Okay?
Well, I remember 5 years ago, we met and we
talked
talked
about
about that, and at the
Right.
time, how times have changed. You had the staff where we didn't have to go automated because, you had the employees to handle,
Well,
2 people on a truck.
And we have.
And now it's changed so much that you can't rely on that number of employees anymore.
Now, I've been carrying residential in my life. I got 4 lines of business within my company. Okay, I've been carrying residential, okay, for years and years and years and years and years. So to give you an idea how much I'm carrying it, we just closed our books, okay, for the third quarter. Okay, I'm already at $500,000 loss on my residential line of business.
Yeah.
Okay. In 2020, I lost 600,000. So I'm gonna lose more this year in residential. And how do I do that? My other lines of business are carrying.
Right.
So,
that's
and it's not because I'm not running my business the right way, okay? I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a long time, so.
So Elaine has a question.
So say we go with automation, what does that mean for our residents? So eventually they would just get carts dropped
Yeah.
off to them?
Excuse me?
They would just get their garbage containers dropped off to them? Like, what is?
Yes.
What is the
What
process?
would end up happening is both carts would be delivered, okay, to their house.
Mhm.
And then they would be informed,
Okay.
okay, a letter would go out and they would say,
Yeah.
you're getting these carts delivered to you,
Okay.
effective this date. We no longer will be using your carts or putting trash bags out, okay, you would be utilizing these cards. So there'll be a letter.
So there'll be a
letter,
notification.
Yes.
And then my other question I guess too is, because a lot of our residents, of course, have their own trash cans, are we creating more trash by, giving them new ones? So what do they do with their old ones? And then at the same time, with the blue bins, would residents be able to bring them back here so we could potentially give them to another municipality? So again, we're not creating.
I
Blue
think-
bins wouldn't
They
change.
take them.
I think over- I think
The
over
blue
takes
bins would go away because you'd have a
You'd have a bin.
recycling cart. So
Oh.
what we've done in the
That's
past,
Yeah,
we-
too.
well, to answer your question, what we've done in the past with municipalities is they've allowed the residents to bring it to the town,
Okay.
okay, or they would throw their blue bins in with the recycling, and once we dumped them off, they would be recycled.
Okay, they would do.
Okay,
And who knows
So-
what the shape they would be in to bring it.
Right.
back.
Yeah, I don't think they
So-
could be used again.
I mean, I know some of them might be. a little
and some
bit-
people would keep them to put stuff.
Yeah, like
Because
sell
they
wood on
already
the
do
side
it
of the
now.
house.
Okay.
Yeah,
As far as the trash cans.
I've got my old blue bins, they are very useful. Because I live in a
As
village.
far as the
now.
trash
Yeah.
cans, what happened with the trash cans is you could do the same thing. They could bring them to the town, okay, or they can make arrangements for us to come get them picked up. So
And they can-
there's those things would all be just.
And they could use that for their brush and weed.
And or they
Yeah.
could use it,
There you go.
containerize the brush.
All right, John,
You
you
guys
wanted to-
done with questions? You got
Yeah, I think
more?
so.
I had one more question. Because the size of the container would be 95.
Oh,
And that would be default. So so do they have a choice if they wanted a smaller container?
So what we said, it's in the
In the question,
our
yeah.
bid.
Then it would be
documents
95
there.
gallons.
We would provide 95 gallon carts. And if a customer wanted to change,
And that would be
they
a
could
charge.
change it for a fee, but what we found in the past is that if you did a survey, okay, people would change anyways. Okay, so as far as the village of North Syracuse and the village of Homer, we've delivered all 95 gallon carts. There was a small amount of people that wanted a smaller container.
Okay.
Oh,
that makes
okay.
sense.
They just
Okay.
throw it less.
So-
Yeah, that, yeah.
There's other ways around using containers too, like with the 95s. I've always instructed people, you don't have to put it out, especially the recycling, you don't have to put it out every week. Some people are so conditioned, they put out every week.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can put it out when the container's full,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, so it's all up to how they want to use it.
In the village of Manlius, we just got automated. I live in the village and some people do have the smaller bins. But what they've been doing is they pick up the trash every Tuesday and then the recycling is every other Thursday.
Mhm.
And that's made a lot of people real mad to have 2.5 trash days or 1.5 trash days.
But this
Well,
is a
the
split
problem-
body, right?
The every other week
Yes.
recycling pickup would work. It's being done, okay, in other areas. Okay, but what ends up happening is people forget what day,
Yeah.
okay?
Happened to me.
And then they put it out and then you get telephone calls and so on and so forth. So if you pick it up every single week, everybody knows when their trash and recycling is getting picked up. It's simple.
They can just choose
Yeah.
to not put it out if it's not
So
full.
to give you the other example about complaints, okay? A lot of the complaints are people not getting their trash out in time,
Right.
stuff blowing,
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah.
When are you coming? Okay, so on and so forth. Okay, in the village of North Syracuse, okay, we have very few calls. Okay, same thing in the village of Homer, okay, when you go to automation.
So you are using split trucks, so it's
Yeah.
the same day for everything.
Right now, in the town of Manlius,
Mhm.
we run a trash truck and we run a recycling truck.
Mhm.
In the more condensed areas.
Mhm.
In your rural area, we run a split box.
A split box.
We're picking up trash and recycling. So the right way to do this is, and do the same way we're doing it right now. We would run a trash truck and a recycling in the condensed area. In the rural area, run a split
Right,
truck.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
We may have to, okay, because we got all split body trucks coming, we may have to run all split body trucks
Yeah.
and then maybe change from there, you know.
Okay.
Which-
And all this communication would be with us and the
Yes.
homeowners.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I did.
And I might add, Sharon Lake,
Mhm.
because she, I know, coordinates with Steve and you a lot, and we try to have some
And Jesse.
quarterly meetings, and yep, if needed. I mean, they're very responsive in that matter. And we always maintain close communication with our residents as well, with them. So it's a
So
good.
we've got so many more questions,
Yeah.
so.
So the next one here, is it true that the traditional automation is the same? Yes.
Do you have any other?
Do we have really,
I just have a couple more, just to skip ahead, because most of these have been covered.
yeah.
Yeah, there's several of these have been
Yeah, I
covered.
The
just-
other question I
key
had
ones.
was, we did ask about composting, and you did provide us a quote with that.
Oh.
Of course, it's more expensive. My question is, how would that work? Would residents be able to sign on to that, or is it all?
It's
Because
all
everyone has
inclusive,
fees, or-
everybody's gonna have it. Okay,
So
and
that's
that-
the two
and that's,
options.
it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's what municipality is gonna do it first. I know the town of DeWitt's been talking about it with me for years, wanting to do it, okay? So it's whoever's gonna jump on the wagon and do it.
But-
The DEC, New York State's gonna mandate it. sooner
Yeah,
or later.
and we're looking
now-
at probably next year.
I was-
doing that.
So could we do that in a future year?
Yeah.
If we increase it so high already?
We need to get time to get people
I
educated
think
on
that's what
board in
our
order
plan
to.
was, when we spoke with them, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think you should, if you're not ready to do it now, you just leave it out.
Could
Yeah.
we do
Okay.
it though within
Leave
a
it out.
5-year period?
Okay, but just so you know, it is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
we're all
Okay.
for it,
yeah,
to, and give our residents time to adjust to the new price.
yeah.
And
That's
then
the
what
whole idea.
potential another
Because
price.
this little smaller operation that's like a mom and pop shop out of Skinny Atlas is sort of doing it. And so there are opportunities with these smaller companies to help us get some people who are practicing it and to see how it is so that we can have almost like a pilot.
And that's what we
Understand.
mentioned to Kevin when he was here, that we would probably look at the future date for that.
Okay.
Sounds
future
great.
date.
So we have no.
All right, okay.
And then,
One more?
Is that it?
and it was really helpful too to hear that, almost 500 people already use your containers.
Yeah,
And I think that that's good. 'cause
yeah.
We have we have an automated one that we just bought at Lowe's or whatever, or the kind that you're talking about. What, in our case, if we have one that
Oh, yeah.
works, do you still want to use?
We're still gonna
yours?
provide it. And the reason why is that we have breakage.
Right.
Okay, we have breakage with the trucks. You can't stop it. It's gonna happen.
So
So
you
we
need to
just replace.
ensure your own
Yes.
stuff. Got it.
And
That's what we do.
Oh, okay, I got an idea.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Anything else?
no, I'm all set.
All right.
Rock, I hope you get to bed tonight.
Yeah,
you
go
very-
home and
yeah.
go to sleep. I feel
Thank you
so
very
bad that
much.
we
Between
were
you and our
out
highway
before you get
superintendent, no
up.
one's getting any
What
sleep.
time do you have to get up tomorrow morning?
Probably about 2:30.
Oh my
I
God.
got
Not for us,
six
us
hours,
coming
I
in.
got 6 hours last night. That's enough.
Oh, boy.
I cannot function without 10.
Thank you, Rocco,
Thank
Steve.
you.
I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, very good. Okay.
We asked a lot of questions because that's like.
Yep.
That's what we do. That's what you told us we did, Sarah, when we first came on board. You said, "Work with people's trucks."
Yeah.
Okay, I just have to promote someone, so I just want to make sure. All right, Mr. Griffiths, we are gonna promote you.
Their guy was out praying yesterday.
What do we have?
One second, all right.
The zone change.
Oh, are we, we're all set with the,
So one of the things we are gonna have to do is award the contract.
right, that's what it was, yeah. And I thought we were gonna be doing that now.
Yeah, that was my question, I guess, because when we did the bid, it was still 3 years,
Right.
1 to 2.
Right.
So do we have to do something different if it's going to be 5?
Well, that's the question. I mean.
Because I would rather say 3 to 1 to 2, but they're saying that that's.
Well, I think
No,
automated,
yeah, no, we bid 3 with 2 years optional, yeah, so we.
But it's automated.
No, it's
The
not.
regular
No, the
service
5-year
is
would be-
3 years with the 2 1-year option.
Right.
And
The
then
automated.
It's the same
automated, they need a
service
5-year
is
guarantee.
And they're the same price, right?
They're the exact same price, but they need a 5-year guarantee with the automated because there's such an upfront capital
so
investment.
you're better off going with 5.
But we got to the same price.
Right.
Yeah, and you lock in.
And you're locked in.
Yeah,
And I mean, in my experience, anytime that they've handled communicating with the residents, I think they've done a really good job.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, I mean, I would vouch.
Yeah.
Allison.
So are we in a position tonight to approve the 5-year contract automated, or do you want to? You want to think about that?
do we wanna just wait a week?
Yeah, we're waiting next week. We
Oh,
already
yeah,
have
one
other
more
questions,
meeting,
yeah.
Okay,
We
so
can- we
We
can-
all wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, you just want to wrap up a couple of, loose ends in between now.
Yeah, just to make sure
Yeah.
that, check with residents. and
so
then-
just remember to put it on the agenda for next week.
I'm
Yes.
sure we'll remind you. of that. All right,
Dan
very
won't
good.
let us forget.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah. right.
Just like, let's vote on it. What
I know.
meetings do you have?
All right, so now we have,
We have a new person.
now we have, wait a second.
Okay, next on our list.
All right, so what's next?
Next
Zone
is
change
the
request.
zone change, item 9 for the Dollar General on Sheps
Corner Road.
Road. And
658
we have
Manlius.
Griffith Engineering.
Mr.
Oh,
Griffiths.
there he is, and he's muted.
Oh, you're muted, sir.
Unmute. Good afternoon, everybody.
Mr. Griffiths, did you have someone with you that you needed me to include as well, or is it just you?
Just me.
All right, you have the ability to screen share if you'd like to.
That would be
Yes.
helpful. All right, go, you can get started. Or, right, everybody good? All right. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, let me pull up the screen share. Give me a second here. I didn't know if sometimes when I go with certain towns, they already have the projects up.
Oh.
So
We
I,
don't.
I'm just saying, I never know. So that's why I was, give me one quick second here.
Oh, we know where it is.
Oh, yeah, we've seen the location. Yeah.
Okay, I'll pull this one open for you. Could everybody see that okay?
You can make a zoom in, or maybe put it full screen and zoom in on the map just a touch.
Okay,
Yeah, that would be great. Oh, look at that.
That's better.
Yeah,
is that okay?
a lot better.
Okay, perfect. I'll get started. My name is Dan Griffiths from Griffiths Engineering here on behalf of Capital Growth Book Altar for the proposed Dollar General at 6589 Manoa Bridgeport Road, Manoa, New York. They're right now just in the initial plans of looking to possibly do a store here, and they're looking at a 10,640 square foot store. The lot size that they're trying to put it on, the lot's a little bigger, but they're trying to keep it on about 1.97 acres, which is mainly this portion of the lot here. There is another portion back here that is part of it. And if when the perk tests come in and the soil tests don't look as good, we have the option to put the septic back here and keep the separation distances available. So I just wanted to bring that up once the geotech is done. Right now, the zoning on this is residential agricultural RA. We're looking to possibly get it changed to commercial A, CA. We are proposing 35 parking spaces, 10 by 20. By your code, you're supposed to have 79 to 81. And in our experience with Dollar Generals, and they even write a letter, 35 is more than enough. You typically will see 10 to 15 customers an hour in these stores. And that's it. It's not like when you have an ice cream shop and a ball game gets over and you get 30 people out once at them. There's just 10 to 15 people per hour coming in and out of these stores typically. A photometric plan would be created for the site to make sure it meets your requirements and it's 0-foot candles at the property lines. The site was laid out with WB67 truck turns to make sure everything can maneuver in and out like it's supposed to without hitting a parking spot. There is public water, gas, natural gas, 3-phase power, and then we would have to do a septic in this location here that we're proposing now. But again, once the geotech comes in, things would shift around. Access to the site would be right from the main entrance right in this area here. Again, there's 35 parking spaces. You've got a loading dock in the back quarter here and dumpster that's normally enclosed back here. And the main entrance to the store is in the front here. From stormwater management standpoint, we would do a full stormwater pollution prevention plan in accordance with New York State DEC requirements for water quality and quantity. And soil erosion control, again, that would be in accordance with that. We do a full SWIP to make sure things work here. And right now, sorry.
Oh, that was me in my chair, sorry.
Okay. Generally, the store operates, 7 a.m. to 9 or 10 at night. The lights go off usually 45 minutes after the store closes. They usually have 10 full-time positions, 2 to 3 employees per shift. And then, usually one big tractor trailer a week and then some random smaller trucks during the week. And what they do now is they like me to get involved just schematically with this and see if it's something that the town may welcome. And if it looks like they do welcome it, we would go into detailed plans from here per your zoning and code officers requirements. But they like to step into these slow to make sure they are welcome before they get into detailed plans.
Yeah, the gas station.
Can you talk about the surrounding properties? I know there's a gas station, there's another, but there are a couple residences nearby as well.
Yeah, right now, we would, if we went through the normal procedure for the public meeting, we do the 500 notices, but right now there's a store here, there's the gas station in the corner. And right now this isn't a flood zone. We would pick the elevation up a little bit more there. But it does feel like it fits in there, but I'm not the board. That's your decision to make that call.
Well, what we would normally do in this situation, we would refer to the planning board next.
Before we do that, I would like to say off one thing, because I did drive this, I went there today, drove around today, especially with all the rain we're getting, and this is in the floodplain. So I have concerns about changing the zone from RA to CA. I mean, that's a much more intense use. Again, with the rain, to increase the non-porous surface here. I mean, if you're gonna raise that up, that water's gonna go right back down to the residents right there. And their yards are flooded today.
So ma'am, what we have to do, we do a lot of these projects. We even did, if you ever Googled Lord's Hospital flood wall and a lot of these multi-million-dollar jobs, FEMA loves our company because we do them successfully, and we've had a history of having success with them. When you do a project like this, that's the purpose of a stormwater pollution prevention plan. Whatever it was in its existing condition, even with the fill or anything, you can't have an adverse impact on adjacent properties. So that's part of what we all have to prove by a plan when we do this with you.
My other concern though is like where you have that, it's all trees right now, and those trees are helping absorb that water, and by eliminating those trees, where's that water gonna go?
So again, it's all comes to the stormwater pollution prevention plan. When you do a stormwater pollution prevention plan, you have an existing site that you have to deal with, and CN numbers, like you're saying, for the trees, for the parking lots, for anything that's there. There's a runoff number in its existing condition, even with its elevation and the floodplain, all that. Then you have to model it with the proposed condition, with the parking lots and everything. And then we find out, hey, are there layers that infiltrate for underground, whatever way we have to work with it to meet the DEC requirements. And if this thing increases a point source discharge, like you're saying, DEC will not accept it and your town engineer will not accept it. That's as simple as it is. It's what a SWIP is for. So there's no adverse impacts on a property.
My other concern is like there's already commercial properties here at this intersection, and one of them is actually currently for sale. So I don't know if it makes sense to increase the commercial parcels here. And then we've also heard traffic concerns already tonight in this very street.
I couldn't hear you, sorry.
Oh, okay.
No, that's further north, yeah.
But it is the same road, no?
So
No, it's on the other side of
If
it
we
now.
do refer it to the
goes-
planning board, I really want to make sure that they're taking those concerns
Oh, yeah.
in.
So, as we've discussed many times on zone changes, a zone change is in the complete discretion of the town board, and there's no obligation to even consider a zone change for the property. That's why the applicant is bringing it to you, to get a sense of whether or not this has support. And it wouldn't make sense to send it to the planning board if this board was opposed to the zone change. He's correct on the stormwater pollution and prevention plan. The rate of discharge can be no greater than it is today, once the post-development than it was pre-development. But the question about trees is a separate and distinct question, and this is a residential area. And the question is, do you want to extend that commercial area down the street from the corner? We have traditionally sent it to a planning board to get their views on it, and but if the board doesn't think that even makes sense, then they shouldn't do it. But
Well, I think it's worth referring to the planning board, and obviously we want to
Would
talk
you-
about these concerns and then also talk to the residents nearby.
So could I ask about this in the context of the comprehensive plan too?
Yeah.
Could this be an opportunity to add into our regular process, something that gives us a more formal engagement with residents? So
Well,
like
we have-
almost like a focus group.
We have a public
conversation.
hearing. We can do outreach while we're waiting for an answer from the planning board.
That's what, that would be a good idea. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. And then,
You can't change the zoning without a public hearing.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's when they, I mean, the.
and the planning board will also look at the parking spots, right?
Yes.
But I sort of meant not just to be reactive to this plan, but this idea of get some real sense of if this hadn't come to us, what is the vision, what's going on in this community, in this, on the street, right in this, at this corner.
We can go
before
talk to
this.
those folks. We can absolutely do that.
Yeah, we can go, I mean, it wouldn't be that difficult for us to go door to door in this area and to get some communication. from
Yeah, in
them.
fact, Dan, a quick question for you. The property that you're looking at, that resident is right there and that owns that property, is that correct? You're be buying
To the
that
north.
from, north of your property?
I don't see that on here right now. Hang on a second here.
Right. When
It
one
heads
of
to the
your,
pool, that one.
yeah, where
Okay,
the
yeah,
pool,
so we're basically, yeah, we'd be pretty far away from it, but that's the next residential property that'd be above it, correct?
and
Our assumption is that the owner of.
In,
Pretty sure they're the same.
I think they own the property, yeah. right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a
the
lot
one
of-
thing I do want to bring up, we do have a landscape architect on staff, and a lot of times they could do some really nice screenings and make them look really good in private. That's just an option down the road. But again, I just wanted to throw that out there.
And that is, what is it, the gas station, Tim, would that be
Sunoco?
CB?
This is probably C.
I believe it's CA.
It has to be a gas
So-
station.
Yeah,
And I
so
looked
this
on
would
the
be
zoning
less,
map, it was
this would
marked
be less
CA.
intrusive as a CA, correct? So-
West.
Well, we want to put it as a CA is what we're proposing.
Okay.
But right, it wouldn't be like a gas, right, be less intrusive than a gas station, of course.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with.
Again, typically, we have Gordon Stansberry too, that is right located near this site. He lives in that area. He does all the traffic stuff. So if you had any traffic concerns or anything, he'd be more than happy to run the numbers for you. That's part of what we do in design anyways. And these stores really don't develop an issue with that. Again, the things you see, we're seeing the problems with this. If you had like an ice cream store, everybody comes after a game and there's 40 people coming and leaving from an intersection, that's when it's an issue.
I don't see that happening for that.
No, it's 10 to 15 an hour. They have studies that we could submit, and we have letters from Dollar General they could submit. They have a lot of proof of that it's only needed.
You okay?
Yeah, I just want, I think we should get the planning board
Yeah,
opinion, but I'm cautiously. so I-
Yeah.
yeah, I understand those concerns. As far as the zone change that Tim mentioned, that's a different subject, but go ahead.
I have a quick question for Dan about the client for Dollar General. Are they doing any sort of green infrastructure with their buildings all over the country? Any green roofs, EV chargers, anything like that? Just curious if they've ever suggested anything like that.
I have not seen it on the roofs or the stores, but whatever the town wants I've had some stuff where, like I said, we have a landscape architect on staff. We've done a lot of green stuff within the ponds for the stormwater with certain plantings and stuff. Bioretention areas and things in certain plantings that are green.
Cool. Thank you.
Good to know.
Well, this is the type of thing that I think has come up in the past where we've thought about these types of things during our commitment to or consideration of the zone change. But when it goes to the planning board, they only can hold them accountable to the requirements of the zone. So there's no
Right.
commitment or obligation, and there's nothing legally that we can do to hold anyone to that. So that, I don't think that we should consider those things when we're making this, that's the planning board
Because
stuff.
once you make the zone change.
It's over.
And
Yeah.
where somebody's proposing a Dollar General today, and it
Yeah.
may be
Something else.
something else.
Who knows? If they
years
could
from now, so.
completely throw Dollar General out the window and do something else.
So would you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Just send me an email with the concerns that you
Yeah.
have, and I will forward that to the planning board attorney so
Okay.
that they will consider those
Thank you.
concerns.
Fantastic. Do you have a motion to?
Yeah, I think we.
Yeah, motion to refer to the planning
Yeah,
board.
refer to the planning board.
I'll make a motion to refer the zone change zone change application at 6589 Manoa Bridgeport Road for the proposed Dollar General to the planning board.
I think.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
All right.
Great.
Thank you very much. Next time we'll be in person with you guys if this thing keeps moving. Thank you.
All right, very good.
Appreciate your
All right.
time.
To our very patient members.
I think Sarah did Joe? meet?
Carrie is coming.
Yeah, but no, when we met with
Oh
them
my goodness.
Becky last year, was that?
With Joe Luby
Joe
was there,
met with them, yeah, yeah. 'Cause I remember he seemed okay with.
and he knew that he was very familiar with the property.
Right, okay, yes, he was. Good point, I forgot about that. All right, so we'll move on to the item 10, which is Apple Tree Ridge Water District. We have the draft plan and
And our
report.
very patient neighbors here.
Yes.
But you were so interested to hear about the property tax.
Yeah,
yes,
right. So.
Garbage was very interesting, yeah.
You don't
very
mess with people's
informative.
garbage, that's what I've been told.
This is why everyone, 35,000 residents should
Yep.
be watching our live stream.
So Sarah, do you want to get the ball rolling here and we can?
So I'd like to introduce Carrie Dooley, who is with MJ Engineering and Land Surveying, I believe is the name of the company. And she has done some work on the behalf of the residents and of Apple Tree Ridge and the town to explore the option of a water district formation. And she has some slides ready to share with us to explain that. And there is a draft plan and report available for public consumption attached to the agenda. So Carrie, you can go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, Carrie, and to understand that the neighbors are here physically, so.
Okay, that's great. Yes, can you guys see my screen okay as well?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, all right. Well, good evening. Again, as Sarah said, my name is Carrie Dooley and I'm with MJ Engineering and Land Surveying. And tonight I'm going to go through the findings of the draft map plan and report for the Apple Tree Ridge Water District. Next slide. Throughout the presentation, I'm going to review the background of the project, go through the proposed water system facilities needed to serve the area, review ownership, operation, and maintenance, outline the user cost components and the proposed cost for the district, as well as review any additional fees that are needed. And we'll conclude with kind of the next steps from this point forward, and then take any questions that the board or the residents may have. So the need for the project is basically being driven off of unreliable wells of poor water quality and low yield. The proposed project and the purpose of the map plan report was to review the creation of a water district to extend public water service supplied by the Onondaga County Water Authority to 3 residents on Maple Tree Ridge, located between Armstrong Road and Troop K Road. The residents in June of 2021 submitted a formal petition to the town board to create a water district under Article 12 of New York State town law. Currently, there is no water infrastructure on Apple Tree Ridge. The closest public water supply is an existing 6-inch water main owned and operated by Aqua on Armstrong Road. So in order to provide water to the 3 parcels in the proposed district, a connection would need to be made to the existing water line on Armstrong Road, and then 1,000 linear feet of 8-inch ductile iron pipe water main would need to be extended in the public right of way on Apple Tree Ridge. 2 fire hydrants would be included with the water main, and they would be spaced approximately 500 feet apart, one of which would be located at the end of the line closest to Troop K Road, and this would allow for flushing during maintenance. Also included are individual water services that would convey the water from the main in the street to each of the homes. These would be 3/4-inch type K copper water services that are in accordance with Aqua standards, and a shutoff valve would be placed at the property lines for each of the residents. Other infrastructure that's needed to provide the water service are water meters inside each of the homes on the existing plumbing, along with pressure reducing valves. And this is based on the location of the parcels in one of Aqua's high pressure zones. Looking at ownership, operation, and maintenance, the town water district would in fact own the new water main, hydrants, valves, and fittings installed in the public right of way. However, the operation and maintenance of the system would be provided by Aqua up to the shutoff valves at the property line. Aqua would also install, own, operate, and maintain the water services, which would be installed from the water main up to the shutoff valves at the property line. They would also own, operate, and maintain the water meters inside the homes as well. For the property owners, their responsibilities include installation of the water service from that shutoff valve at the property line into the home. And this is typically done by a plumber that is contracted directly by the property owner. And the other option, the other item that's needed inside the home are 2 shutoff valves. That's to provide a space for the water meter to be installed, along with the Aqua required pressure reducing valves. So the difference for the homeowner is that they would hire a plumber for those components, where the water main, hydrants, valves, and fittings in the public road would be through a separate construction contract with the town, and that would be paid for through the district costs. So looking at the costs for each of the users, a user cost is made up of 2 components. In this case, the first being a debt service cost, and that's the cost for the actual physical infrastructure, what is basically put in the ground to get the water from the Aqua system to each of the residents' property line. Based on our cost estimate that was presented in the report, the total project cost right now for that infrastructure is estimated at $251,000. This is a estimate using 2021 dollars, and also includes a review of current construction pricing and other recent projects that have bid that are municipal, projects. Certainly costs are very volatile right now. And we're trying to use the most current information as the market is constantly changing. So then taking the debt service cost of $251,000 and assuming that a 30-year loan would be secured by the town at an interest rate of 2.15%. This is a current market rate that I think the town has used previously. Using that loan and percentage, that works out to an annual debt service for the district of $11,400. And with the 3 users that are included in the proposed district, that then equates to a user cost of $3,800 for the debt service piece. The one thing to really kind of note in this is, with a 30-year loan at this interest rate, there's a significant cost in the interest itself. Looking at an amortization schedule, it's almost $90,000 of just interest over a 30-year period. So that is a substantial cost. The other component for a user cost is the operation and maintenance. So this is the fee that Aqua charges for basically the water that is being purchased from their system. And that charge is made up of 2 different components that's shown in their rate schedule below. It is the total of a base system fee for anyone using a 3/4 inch size water meter. That's the $54.90. And that gets added to a water usage rate. So they have a stepped rate schedule where the rate increases with the amount of water that is used, and that rate is per 1,000 gallons. So for the map plan and report estimate, we used an assumed daily average of 200 gallons per day per single family home, which is consistent with other aqua residential users. And that water usage rate based on that gallons per day, plus a base system fee shown in the chart below, works out to be $114.76 per quarter. That's how Aqua sets up their billing, is on a quarterly basis. So multiplying that over 4 quarters in the year, that gives you a total O&M charge of $495.04. Now, that may change depending on how much water is actually used by the resident. If you were to use less than the average of 200 gallons per day per home, this charge may be less. If you are a big water user and you use more than this target rate, your O&M cost could be higher. So this is typical protocol when developing these estimates for a map plan and report. So then the next slide really is just a summary of what I went through. It shows the project cost, the debt service component based on the 30-year loan at the 2.15 interest rate, along with the annual O&M charge based on the assumed water usage that we're using. And that results in an annual user cost of $4,259.04. And again, this is based on, the typical quarterly water usage for a single family home, and the O&M cost may vary. And certainly if the loan term and percentage can be modified and a lower percentage is achievable for the water district, then the debt service cost could also be adjusted accordingly.
I'm so sorry. Are you able to
Make
put it
that
into,
larger?
yeah, make it larger? I'm just having a real hard time following because I can't read first. Can you like make it in view mode? Yep, smaller now.
No. Is that not working?
In the agenda, I think.
No, there's a document here, but it's not.
This is in the
presentation.
agenda, but not the slideshow.
Oh,
And you send it to the slide too.
Can you email it to Allison and we can have that circulated? Because I can't read
What do you need emailed?
the PowerPoint slide.
Yeah, I think I had sent those to Allison this morning.
Possibly. If she sent it over this morning, it might not have made it.
That's okay.
Okay.
I just, if I could have it,
Yeah.
because I'm just having a hard time following without being able to read it.
Okay, yeah, no, definitely. If Allison, if you don't have it, let me know and I will definitely resend that.
So
Okay, we have it. Can you zoom now? Just make it the screen bigger.
just like, yeah, like 200% or.
Then you see the large letters then.
I'm trying to.
The numbers, and it's hard
And
to.
I'm writing them all down
Oh,
here
this
and they're pretty high.
Yeah, but this is really,
Yeah.
really helpful. I feel like this is
That's what I'm like, let's
the
look
most
at
I've
the
ever
magic
grasped
number.
for you,
Yeah.
so thank you.
Okay.
So you understand this. Okay.
So, do you want me to move forward or can you see everything okay?
No, I
No,
can't
we can't
see
see
it.
it.
I can't.
Okay, sorry about that. So then, just kind of wrapping up, there are a couple of additional fees just that I want to note. These are one-time fees and they're not included in the user cost after the first year. And these are fees that are paid directly to Aqua by each homeowner. One is a connection fee in the amount of $800, and that's for a 3/4 inch water service and also includes the water meter to be installed inside the home. And there's also an $11 activation fee for the new water service. So again, these are paid for upfront and are not included in the user cost after the first year. So then, to kind of wrap up the next steps after receiving any comments, questions on the draft map planner report is that MJ will then go ahead and finalize the map planner report and submit it to the town for their review and acceptance and filing. Based on conversations between the residents and the town, should they go forward, the next step would be to schedule and hold a public hearing in accordance with town law, and seeker would need to be conducted at that time. And I think one of the biggest issues or items to note is really the application to the New York State Comptroller's Office. The Comptroller's Office sets a limit for special districts, water being one of them each year. And this year, the limit is $887. So certainly the costs that were presented are in excess of this limit. So their approval would be needed to, to formally form the creation of the water district. So and I know you probably can't see it, but once the presentation is sent around, there is a flow chart that does walk through the process and the steps following comptroller approval. As far as forming the special district, you have to go through certain resolutions. Obviously, there's still the steps of developing detailed plans for regulatory approval, which would be the health department. And I'm sure Aqua would be reviewing those. All those steps would then follow, before you could do a public bid for, for construction. So that kind of rounds out the process for the district. Before I take questions, a couple things I do want to note, just so that everybody is on the same page. We did receive the estimate for the proposed district area that Aqua prepared in June of 2020. Those prices, is our understanding, are based on their annual contract, which really helps to reduce a lot of their unit costs as compared to municipal bid projects. And with our estimate, those were the estimate that is in the map planner report is set up for a municipal bid project. And so it's very difficult to really make a direct comparison to Aqua's estimate. There's also been certainly a time gap from their estimate to today. And again, as I noted, the prices, a lot of the water items have changed and are changing frequently. And the estimate that we prepared, obviously includes the 30-year loan period, and also includes the engineering and design that's needed to get regulatory approval, as well as the construction oversight during that period. So those are some other things that certainly aren't in the map planner report, but I just want to highlight and make note of as we put this draft together for the town's review.
Thanks, Karen.
All right.
You're welcome.
Questions?
The board you have some questions?
I have
Sarah, I know you've been at the forefront of this.
Question. I know this is only 3 residents, but is there any way that this would be eligible for grant?
Well, I think we don't know what the rescue plan dollars might make available. It would not qualify for other kinds of grants because we're not within any kind of targeted region where that'd be desired.
From what we've seen in the presentations, the water infrastructure is conceivably part of it. Yeah. Well, in the original Aqua number, I heard you say
70 grand.
So we're talking about 70 to 200K is really the span.
So really and if you back out of that, it's really 70 compared to about 186,000, because that's the subtotal of the construction. And then you have to, in our estimate, there's a project contingency, and there's also engineering, legal, fiscal, planning, and administration. So that's what we typically would include for a capital cost estimate at this stage. Certainly, once you get ready to go out to bid, the contingency usually goes from 15% to, closer to like 5% because you've engineered it at that point and you kind of know, some of the questions. So that 251, certainly could go down, would go down closer to bidding time. But right now, I'll say if you're trying to compare Aquas to the map planner report, it's 70,000 versus more of 186. If you're looking at just construction. Now, I know that, some of their general conditions items, traffic control, mob, demob, a lot of that information, a lot of those items are worked into the unit costs that Aqua used, whereas we've got separate line items in our estimate that are broken out differently.
Thank you.
Can we use Aqua's number?
Aqua can't build it for you.
Yeah.
Because it's being bonded off.
They can't build it for you. My understanding is they can't build it for you, period.
Use a building for me when I put roads in, but. As a
So,
developer-
so the question is, if you got I've been trying to talk to Aqua about this. I haven't been able to, we haven't touched base on it, but I'm not sure where the estimate from Aqua came from, first of all.
I do.
We might
I've
have to
got
share.
everything you need to know.
Well, but did Aqua say they would build it for $80,000?
Aqua said right here, 44,650 for installation of 1,000 feet of 8-inch depth.
That they would do that?
Right here.
Okay, then why wouldn't you just enter into a contract with them?
We were told at the June 4th meeting that since we're asking the town to bond it off.
Well, that's
This
the
is,
problem.
they're saying they build it for
Yeah,
you.
If you're asking the town to bond it, then we have to go through a competitive bidding process.
Right.
That's,
Wanted to know.
Well, if I may ask.
Yeah,
a question,
please do.
Do we, just for
I'm sorry,
anyone,
I'm
if
sorry.
you could come to the podium?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And introduce, I'm sorry, we didn't actually introduce you guys.
you know who you are.
Yeah,
So this is Carol Alacqua.
Hi, I'm Carol Alacqua. Hi,
So
Carrie.
you have Aqua in your name.
My name, it's been confusing as a child. But anyways, I started this back in March of 2020. Getting estimates from Aqua because Bill was digging up his backyard at that moment, and I went up to him and said, gee, you got a mess on your hands, and it had to do with his well. And then I talked about my well, and we realized we needed, both of us needed good water. So I contacted Aqua directly out of ignorance. Aqua, I don't know how to water for you. I'll start
Yeah,
with
sure, that sounds like a good place to start.
And I spoke with Scott, whose name escapes me right now because I'm on the, I'm at the podium. But anyways, he wrote me an initial quote. And then in subsequent conversations with him, we discussed the possibility of the quote increasing because there is known rock in the area. And once they start digging, if they hit diggable rock versus undiggable rock, prices will increase. They actually did those rock tests for Aqua. I saw the trolley trucks on my street and I went up to them and said, hey, what are you doing? And they said, we're doing a rock test. Isn't that fabulous? So Aqua has done the rock tests and have learned that there is, there's not substantial rock, even though it's an area known for bedrock. Not in this particular, not where the street happens to be. So then they sent me a quote, an updated quote in June of 2020. And they also sent it to Mr. Theobald in August of 2020. So at that time, the town had been informed that we were interested. We not knowing the process, and I know there was a change of town engineer, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward, it was March. I'm back here saying, what do we need to do in 2021? Our question is, we understand that we could private pay to have Aqua install this. The corollary question is, if Aqua were to install it for us as private pay, then what my understanding is then the town has no responsibility for it. So it'll be between us and Aqua for the whole time. In talking to Aqua about that, they said, well, another option would be to have the town be the lead on it and bond the project. That might soften the initial price tag of the 70,000, let's say 75, because it's easier to divide by 3 neighbors, 25 grand up front, handing it to Aqua. So that's why we approached the town. I don't think we anticipated, the cost of everything seems to be all over the place due to the pandemic and the lack of labor. And we didn't really anticipate over $100,000 increase in the costs separate from the contingency and the engineering, legal, and et cetera, that adds another 65 grand combined to the cost. What I don't understand is, I understand there an engineering firm has to be involved for municipal works, so that's part of the fee. But it just seems like an awful lot of ballooned costs for a municipal project. I mean, if I were a construction person, I would only do municipal projects because it seems like that's where the payday is, quite frankly. So I don't know why it's that much more expensive. I mean, I understand prices are fluctuating, and I understand there are some contingencies that are built in for municipal bonds, but it just seems outrageous, for lack of a better term. So I don't know, is there a way to trim these costs to get it more manageable? I mean, we can't pay $4,500
No.
per
Yeah, right.
home
We
per year.
we wouldn't allow you to.
Yeah, right. Nor would the comptroller.
They- they don't have the comptroller, yes.
Right.
So the costs that are being estimated, Carrie, right? These are estimated costs based on their knowledge of the industry, based on their knowledge of the systems that have been put in recently.
Yes.
We don't know what the actual cost would be until you actually bid it.
Bid it. Yes, exactly. And we're using, we've bid several water main projects in various parts of the state here recently, and we've reviewed all of those unit price items for those projects as we put this estimate together. So we're trying to use the most current information. One area that we potentially could look at a reduction. I was not aware that Aqua did any rock tests, what those were, if they were soil borings. If they came back, right now we're carrying $17,000 in rock excavation based on what our knowledge was of the area, not having soil borings in front of us. So certainly if soil borings show that there is not a huge presence of rock, then we might be able to reduce that piece of the construction estimate. But you're right, you're not going to know the actual cost until you bid it.
So this is our engineering firm that we contract with as the town, giving us an idea of what it might cost. But this is not necessarily the company that we'll hire to do the project. So we'll bid it out, companies will respond, they'll say, I'll do it for this, I'll do it for this, I'll do it for this. And then we'll have a real idea of what companies are, of what it would cost, but they're giving us a conservative estimate.
But there's costs associated with the bid.
To get to the bid, there's another
There's gonna
several
be-
thousand
Yeah,
dollars.
there's gonna be significant
The other
costs.
thing is,
Is it conservative?
the other thing is, isn't this because of the scale of it too? Like if this was a more dense area, it would obviously be less per household. right?
11,000 linear feet of pipe for 3 houses is a lot.
A lot of
pipe.
people.
Absolutely. Yep. It doesn't have the density to really support 1,000 linear feet of pipe. There's a big price tag with the water main.
Carrie, I think Bill McGinnis is the other resident he'd like to say,
Yeah.
ask a couple questions.
I guess, so since we're asking for it to be bonded up, there's no way around the New York state laws.
No.
Nothing.
Yeah, if you're asking the town to get involved by
You have to
doing,
go to a hard bid.
yeah, yes, exactly.
So Aqua's out.
So if you want to go back to Aqua and finance privately, you'd still have interest, but you would be able to finance
Who owns
privately.
this system then? Who owns the system?
You.
Aqua? or us?
If,
It would be
if,
on the map where I assume in the presentation where the pieces where the towns would be you, is that right? And then Aqua
if the district is created under the town, then the town owns the infrastructure. If you guys go back to Aqua, then the town is not part of that anymore.
Yeah. So in your experience, Carrie, would Aqua own the main pipe or would the 3 residents own the main pipe?
Only if, only
Wouldn't
if, only if the district is created, would the town have any piece of it? I think Aqua would probably end up owning the infrastructure, depending on how that arrangement works, with their authority, rules and regulations.
Okay.
I'm not digging up water.
Yeah. So that would be, you could just cut us out and go back to Aqua and make your own deal.
So it's like buying a water main or buying a new well, is that what
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, the next question is water. We would have, if we go direct pay to Aqua, we would have to still have the town or somebody create a district.
No.
That wouldn't be a district. Not necessarily. That's why I'd like to talk to Aqua. So I still have to
do
talk.
that. I think we have to get some more information before we can fully answer these questions.
And that my property is in the water district.
Oh, okay.
In the Armstrong Road, the one.
I'm in the Manlius Consolidated Water District.
Okay.
So does that give me any bearing on getting water in my property? I pay taxes for 20 years on it. I know it's
You have to
only
get the
$10 a
pipe.
year.
You
Yeah,
have
I
to
know. I pay $10 a year to be in the water district.
Yeah, but you have to get the pipe to your property.
Okay,
Somebody has to pay for that cost.
so we shouldn't have to include my property in the district when we create the district.
No, if it's already in the district, then
You would just have to pay to pipe it,
Okay.
if you're gonna do private pay.
But we would need to talk about who controls Onondaga,
I've been in the district.
Manlius Consolidated.
District.
Because couldn't the other 2 join that? Can the other 2 join Consolidated District?
well, we'd have to extend it.
Can we extend it?
Oh, then the cost.
Doesn't that
would
seem
be
easier?
Suddenly. borne
Divided by everybody.
Other people.
But they'd have to pay to pipe, they'd have to pay for the piping to their
If he's
houses.
to hook up.
Yeah, to extend the district,
Expansion
all you're doing
district.
is extending the district for purposes of the operation and maintenance, not the construction.
So,
Ultimately, the construction has to.
so we would have to confirm this, but if you paid to build it and then gave it to the Consolidated District, then you're concerned about that in 30 years, am I responsible for fixing a water main? You wouldn't be.
Cause then if we
Yeah.
do that.
That's a good.
So that would be a good way to do it, to
Yeah.
extend the district after construction.
But only, but he's the only one. in the water
But we would extend it to their house.
To their houses too. Add those 2 to the existing water district. You can do that.
Did we answer your question?
Yes, my concern is the fact that, at worst, I have paid taxes to be in a district, a water district. I have had no water to my property.
So this came
Can I
up
get
with
that money
the,
back?
But it's also for stormwater.
well, this is.
She's not in the district, so we'll have to extend your property, but.
Right.
This came up with the other water districts that was, that came up last year and that was a subject of much discussion. There were people who would have had to pay taxes in the water districts that had wells that they were fine with. And so 50% of the owners of the taxable property.
Well, I understand that, but they did not pay those taxes.
Right. But that's,
I haven't been paying.
Yeah, this
so
is
you
different.
can be in a water district, pay to be in a water district and not get water.
Well, I don't know why you're in a water district if
I'm not sure either.
if the pipe is not benefiting you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's up every year on my tax bill. I bought it right here. I paid for 20 years. And I've gone to the town with that question. No one's ever answered it.
I mean, did someone just opt out of it 20 years ago
Either
or whatever?
refund or run water down my property, it'll be cheaper for the rest of us.
Well,
We're have to
You know,
carry it in a
do I
bucket.
push that angle or not?
All right, well, I think we
yeah,
have
this
to
is-
do more
we
due
need to
diligence. I
research
don't
the
know.
back a
Yeah,
little more on
okay.
this.
Yeah, let's be
We
clear about.
have a map plan and report,
Yeah.
okay? So it's what it's showing us is it's very expensive under the public bidding process to extend water to your 3 houses. The next question is, where does Aqua play into this? I will be in touch with Aqua, I promise you. They have not, I know people like us. I will be in touch with them and I'm going to see if we can set up some kind of meeting or get, so I can have an understanding of what they're willing to do for the three of your houses.
Yeah.
And once that's done, do we extend the district to cover those three houses?
The two that aren't already in it.
The two that aren't already in it, yes.
And then I think number 4 is,
There you go.
We wouldn't be doing it unless you're gonna get water.
Right.
so in that, so Bill, then the 4th item is to track down why you've been charged for a district
I
that you
tried
don't.
that like 5 times.
Well, we can help.
How much do you
you.
pay a year?
$10.
$10,
$10.
20 years.
All right, so we owe
With
Bill
interest.
$200.
With interest.
Contingency.
Water in my house.
All right,
I have a
yeah.
I have a question. So this map plan report is a draft. And I know that it needs to be finalized and the board needs to accept it? Or would you reject it? Because it's like, whoa.
Yeah, no, the board would probably say, this doesn't make, this is not in the best interest of the residents, therefore we were not going to accept that.
Okay, because I'm not sure what the acceptance and rejection is, if it's,
The-
okay, this, you did a good report, and so we accept your nice report, or we accept the information therein.
No, it would, unless you can convince the controller's office and you can convince yourselves that you're willing to pay
Yeah.
$4,300 a year, then it just dies.
We could just stop it right
Can I get
here.
my $1,000 back?
But, yeah.
That's a no.
Even though when we started this, I said it's gonna go this way.
We need to talk
Leave it.
That was,
If I get that 1,400, I'm at 1,400, I saved some of that water.
All right, so we'll, Tim will look into,
So,
I will be in touch with
so
them.
I just want to convey that I was able to speak with Jeff Brown, who's the
Mhm.
head of Aqua right now, and conveyed to him that we were having this meeting this evening. He will be expecting contact from you and
Okay,
and that we would probably want to have a meeting to do that. So we've kind of, so, yeah, I know you've been trying to do this for 2 years and it kind of ebbed and flowed more than you wanted, but we're gonna keep on this and move it along till you get an answer that's what you need.
yep.
So will we be involved in that meeting?
I think yes.
Okay, great.
absolutely.
Okay.
So we'll set something up and try to look at what's feasible, what's legal,
Yeah.
and what's financially sound for you guys.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Oh, that
So,
was-
thank you for hanging
Thank
in.
you, Carrie.
All right, thank you. If you have any other questions, just let me know.
And you guys can email us if you think of something later.
Okay.
Thanks for your patience tonight.
Thank you.
No, yeah. Very good. All right, so we, all right, we need, okay, highway
So-
superintendent
Yes,
is
so
next,
Ann and I have a little.
which
something
was
for
the, I think we had a budget transfer here, Sarah. you-
So I don't know, do you want to speak?
You know,
In anticipation of the highway department purchasing a new vehicle.
Yeah.
They would like to transfer the funds from the Extreme Winter Recovery Fund, which is DB for 3,500,
Mhm.
to the new equipment line, which is in the DA 55130 200 line. So that is Rob's request of the
Right.
board this evening.
So I move what she said.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And this is
Thank you,
the
Ann.
truck that was available locally, right? Versus the one we get because somebody else didn't have their other stuff.
This is a
ready.
different.
Yeah. Oh, this is
This is
different.
different. Okay. Okay,
That
Tim, you're
that was the box.
This is a
Oh.
pickup truck.
right. Tim, you're,
Elaine?
you're
So
set.
just moving money from DB to BA.
We can because it's the extreme winter recovery. It's like one of the only exceptions.
Like,
Very gentle,
It's a
Ann.
good question, good question.
Yes, yes.
So
we-
good, Elaine.
After we've done
I
it.
know.
Yeah,
She's
it's-
been listening.
The
So
one
it's for-
exception, now you
Because
know.
you're allowed to use winter recovery for equipment.
Right, right. Okay, and Tim, you're up next with the building permit shed.
Yeah, so the state of New York has changed the law to allow people to build sheds or playscapes up to 144,000 square feet, 12 by 12, without a building permit. Our code says 100 square foot, so we just need to change it to 144 square foot. My original one said 120.
Right.
I changed it, it's really 144.
I was just about to say, the one I'm looking
Yeah.
at says 120.
Right, and I was wrong. I
So
was wrong.
we need to set a
I
public
changed
hearing.
it, and I provided that to Allison.
Are we
November
looking at?
17th at 6:35, so I can meet the.
Perfect.
Yeah, next week's not gonna be. early.
17th.
So
Yes.
I'll make a motion to schedule the public hearing for local law shed and playscapes building permits update for 11/17 at 6:35 p.m.
Can't get here soon enough. Very good. Can I have a second?
You said it. I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And the other thing is, we do need to go into
Will we
executive
make
session.
it? I cannot believe, I
I
am not, no, I refuse.
Sorry.
I am not making that move.
We're not doing it right now.
For the
so-
employment history of a particular corporation or matters leading to employment of corporation and litigation and for attorney-client privilege issues.
All right, sounds like a fun time.
And I want to jump in before we get to the solar study. Karen, you wanted to give us a little update on with the recreation.
Oh,
and the,
yes, I just wanted to make sure everyone
Wicked Woods.
knew again about the success of the Wicked Woods program. Our recreation department does just a phenomenal job. And again, Peggy and Christine and Elaine working with the village of Manlius, Fayetteville, Green Lakes, and the New York Historical Society. Another great event. It was different this year. The first one we did, it was 6,000 people went through it.
Wow.
And that was a walkthrough.
Yeah.
So because of the COVID and all that, they switched to a drive-through these past 2 years. But they did a great job. They had almost 2,000 pounds of food collected and donated to the food bank, along with, I think it was about $700. But it's always been very well received in this community. We have a lot to be thankful for, the sponsors and all the volunteers and our magnificent police department that kept the traffic going and people.
And had
safe.
music blaring from their car.
Oh.
Yeah, you had a fun
So,
officer there.
Thank you, and kudos to our recreation department. Thank
Yep.
you, Ed.
And for Heather and Sarah braving the night of judging. of the-
Oh, super fun. It was so fun.
Judge
Sarah knows how to
campers, right?
drive a golf cart too.
That was the
Oh, that's
campers,
such a
right? They were doing
riot.
all the, yeah, and
they
I
did
saw
it up at the
pictures were
campsite.
just really.
People really put a lot
They
of.
were really.
Yeah, I got my new iPhone with the night vision here, so I was able
Oh.
to capture some of the moods, and people were wonderful, and they're having such a good time, and they're gonna come back. So I
Yeah.
hope it's the place to be.
And it's a good thing that Peggy posted it again, because I liked and shared it, and my daughter goes, hey, we gotta go to that tonight, you know, and so they raced right up there.
Yeah.
For the
There you
kids.
go.
So,
Yeah,
all
it's a
right,
great thing.
so, our daughter, I should say, so.
Not just enjoyed by the town of Manlius.
Yes,
I mean,
it was.
people come from
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's all
neighboring
over.
communities.
right.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, and now we can move on to the committee reports of the solar study group.
Well, we
Sarah?
had
I passed.
Did I miss one?
police chief and town manager.
Oh, my God, I jumped right over everybody. Sorry about that. You didn't say you had anything, right? Chief, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I did not have a report, thank you.
See, I knew that. right? And you had anything for us tonight?
Okay.
See, I must have just been psychic about that. You know, so, went right over them there. Okay.
Alex is still making me laugh past.
Yeah. Now we can move on to the solar project group.
Okay, so the commercial solar study group is composed of myself, Arnie Poltenson, Joe Lupia, Elaine Denton, Caitlin Kriesel, Valerie Beecher, Rich Rossetti, and Tim Fratesky. I sort of stuck you in there because
There.
once in a while we invited him and sometimes we
That's
didn't.
He was ad hoc.
And I just want to thank all of them, and people can, and thank all the experts who helped us. So those are all in the report, and the recommendations are there. It's posted to the agenda. Is it?
It's in the agenda, but it's also in the documents.
It's also in the document
And
section.
the
So,
clickable, the links, there was an issue with the PDF and the clickable links. So the way we put it in the document center is the main things there. And then in the order that they're in the document, you can find them and click on the links and follow.
so if anyone is interested in reading the whole thing with all the links of which there are several, go to the document center because the links won't open if you go to the other ones.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Sarah. Good. I'm glad to see that final report. That's,
So the last thing is for us to revise the law, and I didn't feel like we would want to deal with that today.
Yeah, sounds good.
So we will be working on that after the budget is completed.
Oh,
Well,
even
that
better.
sounds just fine.
Yeah. All right. Okay, thank you, Sarah. And Elaine, you have some updates on the EV charging stations.
So I wanted to let everyone know that a couple of weeks ago, I found out that the NYSERDA Charge Ready program was no longer available.
Right.
So this grant was to help us to install EV charging stations here at Town Hall. But I was notified of another grant from the DEC called the Zero Emission Vehicle Infrastructure Grant.
Yep.
That we can try for, and which I'm happy to report that if we are awarded this grant, the cost would actually be almost could be 50% less than what we talked about in July and what we approved there.
Right.
So I have applied for that grant, and I will let everyone know when I hear back.
Okay.
Yay.
Is this the one, is it again a matching where we have to pay up front, or is this?
Yeah, so this one pays 80% cost,
Mhm.
and the town has to pay 20%.
Yep, okay.
And our cost will also be, because we're also taking advantage of a national grid program that actually can
Offset that.
Reduce that.
it can count as our 20%. There we go.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
the part we still need to pay for is the grant only covers 2 years of maintenance and
Oh,
networking.
okay.
So the town would have to pay 3 years of networking and the maintenance plan.
You know
You know
about
that-
what those cost.
Yeah, I will get all that information.
Get all that to
Yeah.
us, okay, okay, well, it's a starting point to see where we go with this, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, Elaine,
Yeah, thank
great
you for
work.
that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you sent it to us and it looks, it
Yeah,
was amazing how what you'd done. I know you worked with planning boards too, Deb.
right, yeah.
Zoomed along to-
But you didn't think it was gonna be this convoluted.
Yeah.
I'll do the charging.
Yeah, well.
All right, and next we have, that's fine. We have comprehensive, yeah, I didn't have anything, I just. your
Sure,
name.
sure, just really quickly, just really quickly, we met at the Kirkville Fire Department on the 14th of October with our committee and met with our new liaison from BNL, Keith, Eli, and also Ken Knudsen came as well.
Oh,
which is
great.
And we discussed the focus groups that we had already, taken place and built information back to folks about shared the notes from those in a summary form. The BNL is working on the community profile still, and we determined as a group that we wanted to have as much community engagement as possible, more than BNL probably needs to kind of just complete their section. So we made an effort to make sure that comprehensive planning brochures were at the Party in the Plaza in Fayetteville. We are going to have, thanks to Carrie Catalino, trunk or treat at the village of Manlius. So there will be a comprehensive plan brochures there, and we'd love to have another opportunity within Manoa that we'll seek out to spread the word, in addition to having 4 other focus groups, I believe.
Well, we're going to have a Zoom meeting
On the
16th, and we're going to figure out who's going to lead which focus groups and decide from there. So
Exactly. And the idea is also to get a little more, to get a survey out to folks that helps us gather some more information. It was hard during COVID because we couldn't have any physical gatherings that were quite visible. And so we're looking to take advantage of any opportunities like that too. Is there anything else, Sarah, that you want to include? And then January, we'll meet again in person.
yeah, so I just think, again, we're still in a gathering mode. So if you would like to be part of gathering, or you have information you would like to share, we're not past that. So we're any kind of information is
Is
still.
there
welcome.
any type of active survey that people can be participating in? right now?
Not yet.
We'll
We're making-
have
we're
it
making it.
available.
So it'll be available after the 16th, but the page, tell us about the page.
We're just working on the civil space page right now. We have a great deal of it built out. I updated the timeline to match what BNL had put on there. The focus groups produced each some questions and then some idea board statements. So it's just a question of getting those things on there
Mhm.
and then making them understandable in a way that residents know, hey, I want to go. I think the thing that is the best about it is the first survey was very long and they would get data that people would drop off at the end. These are going to be little bite-sized surveys that you only participate in what you're interested in. So, and they're very short.
So we're really debuting comprehensive planning as one of the first focus areas of engagement with civil space, our new website and engagement tool. So,
Yeah.
So
I
that's
think
that's where we are.
Grows to like sustainable Manlius has stuff and, the new town hall would have a page on there. So
all this sounds so awesome.
It is awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Very good.
It is awesome.
Thank you. All right, before I get on to the supervisor's report, I have one other thing I wanted to mention again was Dr. Desiato, Superintendent of the Year. I attended an event they had a week ago today. And it was a really nice celebration, Superintendent of the Year, the state Superintendent.
What an honor.
And they are really shooting for the national. Superintendent.
That'd be great. We got to root around.
It was a very good turnout, and she was really gave a nice talk, as she says, straight from the heart, She was very touching and informative at the same time. That's how she is, very good.
So smart.
Yeah, and some excellent speakers, and some kids got up and spoke on her behalf.
That's nice.
It was students, I should say. So, all right, so I just want to recognize Dr. Desiato and congratulate her again as well.
Yeah.
So, and lastly, before we go into executive session, my monthly report, I just need to get that okay for me to sign it. Sign my.
So I'll make a motion to authorize signature of the supervisor's report.
And I'll second
All
that.
right, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Very good. Thank you. And now we need a motion to go into executive session.
For the employment history of a particular corporation or matters leading to employment of corporation, for litigation purposes, and for liability.
Okay. Who-
So
so
Jen
who
said
made that
that.
motion?
Jen said
did?
that.
Okay.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Very good.
This session sound like a real fun time.
It's a regular laugh.
Everybody come on in.
All over the
I
place.
keep forgetting this. Yeah, you're getting this live now?
Yeah, we got-
All right, now we're live. Okay, I need a motion to,
Motion to adjourn.
okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, very good. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Got a lot done in 2 hours. It's